Hi guys, welcome to Chris Cowlin's channel for this live watch along for the Premier League match against Manchester United. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, X and Twitch. Thank you so much for getting involved, really appreciate it. Do press like on this video and also give Chris's channel a subscribe and just get any questions and thoughts into the comment sections wherever you're watching. Let's have a chat during this game, which I think will be difficult. It's an interesting one. Back to league action for the first time in a while. We did win our last league game away at Brentford. We're going for 2 in a row. I'll get into the team news in a bit, but Man United's team looks pretty strong, relatively strong, but they do have a kind of very Spurs-esque bench for the first time, I think, in what feels like living memory. Tottenham have a far stronger bench than the opposition that they're playing against. So it feels like, can we make it and still be in the game around 65 minutes? And then hopefully bring on the finishers. But who knows? I'll give you the itinerary for what's going to happen this afternoon in terms of content on Chris's channel. I'll be doing the watch along straight after the game. I'll do a post-match reaction video. Then it will be the Spurs fan call-in show where fans from all around the world will call in to talk to me about their thoughts on the game. And then following that, at about, what will it be? About 7:30, I guess. Chris will be here with the Spurs Chat podcast, where he'll be joined by Craig Dearman, Liam Fairhead, and Orkun Basar from over there in Turkey. But Chris Cowlin isn't in Turkey. Chris Cowlin is at the game today. He's already posted some videos of the protest. I'll give you my thoughts on that in a second. But he will be posting on this on his channel other bits and bobs from the game today. So keep an eye out on his channel all throughout the afternoon and the evening. And let's just hope we can have a week that we enjoy this week after a good result today. It certainly feels like a while since that's happened because of the loss in both the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg to Liverpool and the loss in the FA Cup to Aston Villa. Let's get to the team news and a couple of players back from injury for Spurs. When was the last time we were able to say that? Vicario in goal comes in for Kinski. Then the team is Porro, Spence, Danso, and Ben Davis comes back in. I did think, and I did talk about in my videos this week, I thought that maybe Ben Davis had been rested mainly because of what happened to Richarlison. Since he came back from his injury, he played so many games and then got re-injured. So I think giving Davis a rest in the last game, probably not the worst idea of all time. Then at the midfield, Bentancur, Bergvall, and Maddison. And then the front three, Son, Tell, and Deki Kulusevski. Just getting into the comments already, Gardu, thank you for your comments. As United is a decent, in inverted commas, team based purely on names, but as a unit, they're not synced at all, as that group hasn't played together regularly, especially from midfield upwards. Casemiro hasn't started in months. Yeah, I think on paper that's true, and I'll go on to talk more about this, but one thing that Ange has been saying a lot is how important it will have been that Spurs have had a whole week to do training rather than just recovery this week. Well, I would say the same for Man United as well. They haven't had much time because of the Europa League and the Premier League and all the cup competitions. They actually haven't had much time with Ruben Amorim at all since he's joined. So I do wonder if we'll see more patterns that he wants them to play today. Tottenham's bench, Kinski, Bissouma, Udogie is back. Archie Gray gets a rest. Brennan Johnson is back. Wilson Odobert is back. And then Pat Matasar, Dane Scarlett, and Mikey Moore. Manchester United's team, Anana, De Ligt, Maguire, and Mazraoui is the back three. The wing-backs, Dalot and Patrick Dorgu. Be interesting to see him play because, of course, he was on Tottenham's list. And I think Tottenham were favourites to get Patrick Dorgu until Manchester United showed their interest. Then, as Gardu says in the comments, the midfield is Casemiro, Fernandes, and then Garnacho, Xerxes, and Højlund make up a kind of attacking three. If you think about it in terms of how Conte played at Tottenham, with those kind of two number 10s really playing behind the front man, it'll probably be a bit similar to that. And then in terms of their bench, like I said, just a really kind of recent Spurs-esque kind of bench where I actually have only heard of Lindelof, probably. The rest of them, Heaven, Amas, Fredrickson, Morehouse, Martin, Cohn, Harrison, and Fletcher. So they're basically kids. And therefore, can Tottenham take advantage of Manchester United in the second half the way that Spurs have had the advantage taken out of them by other teams? So good to see Vicario and Maddison back, like I said. Hopefully there'll be a bit more sprite and a bit more pizzazz about the Tottenham team. Certainly, I want to talk about how tired I feel like Sonny and Deki Kulusevski have looked recently. And I'm hoping that a week off will have given them a bit more freshness in their legs. And then over and above that, will we see Ange Ball for the first time in a long time today? I think there's really no excuse for it. Ange is kind of running out of excuses as to why we can't see us play some of our better football all along the ground, 1 and 2 touch stuff. There's no point us really hiking it long today because obviously Dom Solanke's not back. Richarlison is injured. I don't think, as good as Matthias Tell looks, I don't think he's, an excellent old school target man, number 9, Chris Wood style, who's going to hold it up with back to goal. So we're going to have to see some Ange Ball. And like I said, I think he's running out of excuses now as the players start to come back. I do think that Ange will get the Europa League run. I think he'll probably get this season now. I really don't see the point in us changing it. But I guess on the flip side of that, playing devil's advocate, if we were going to get absolutely destroyed by someone, if United scored 3 quick goals today or something, and then it was just think how toxic the stadium would get in that case, what with the protest being outside before this game as well. Then, although my instinct is Ange will get the time, I'm not sure if something like that were to happen. Archie Gray gets his rest today, which I think is important. Davis and Danso should provide some balance in the back line. And then Odegaard and Johnson on the bench. If indeed Odegaard is able to get maybe 10 minutes or something, 15 minutes, and that means some genuine pace on the bench as a possibility for later in the game. Interesting, isn't it? Let me know how you feel in the comments. Bergvall now seems to be a regular starter ahead of Pape Sarr and Yves Bissouma. How do you feel about that? Be interested to see how he does alongside Bentancur and Maddison. And what we really need from Maddison here, all being well, let's hope he doesn't get re-injured. We need him to come and get the ball off the back four. That's what we were doing so brilliantly at the beginning of last season, those first 10 games. Maddison coming to get the ball off the back four, really helping us keep the ball and create. And we've really missed that, certainly in the last 2 games, where I just feel like the back four have had the ball, but we haven't really been... they haven't really had options ahead of them at that point. So that's what I want to see from Maddison today, and Bergvall, to be honest. I'm very hopeful that Tell will start in the number 9 rather than wide left, as he did against Aston Villa. I thought that was a mistake from Ange Postecoglou, and then obviously we only made 1 chance for Tell. He put it away. It was only a half chance, and Sonny had a really good gilt-edged chance in that first half that he wasn't able to put away. And then Spence obviously starts on the left. Again, next week, I have to say, I'd like to see if Udogie is ready to start a game next week. I'd like to see Udogie starting on the left and Spence starting on the right, and a rest for Pedro Porro, who's played far too many minutes this season so far. And we just get caught with the ball going in behind him far too many times, as far as I'm concerned. They're my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments, guys. Just playing with my stream to try and work out how far behind I likely will be. Now, obviously, before kickoff, got a couple of minutes before kickoff. Important to talk about that protest. I'm sure you've seen some of the social media videos. I know Chris has posted one. It's definitely the biggest protest we've had so far. It's called Change for Tottenham. It's led by a group called Change for Tottenham, and they, I think, quite cleverly decided on a march along the Tottenham High Road. And it did look like there were maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people there. And they were, many of them, chanting, "We want Levy out," and "We want ENIC out," etc., etc. So, that is definitely the biggest it's been, for sure. There are some rumours doing the rounds about Qatar being interested in investing in Spurs. Be interesting to see whether anything changes with Daniel Levy in terms of how he starts or is trying to run the club. I think at this point, what a lot of people want, I've listened to a lot of the podcasts this week, and some of them had people from Change for Tottenham. What they want, they just want things to change. I mean, some of them even said it doesn't necessarily mean Daniel Levy has to leave. We just want things to change. So even if that meant he was willing to spend more money on wages, and maybe even bring it up to the amount we were spending when we had the likes of Lloris and Kane and Dyer and Eriksson and Dele Alli, all of whom are on 150 grand a week plus. Well, all of that has gone, and I think we've only got maybe 3 or 4 players in the squad who earn over £100,000 a week. And I think West Ham have 13. That's what I heard on one of the podcasts this week. And that is a pretty damning stat, I have to say. So, yeah, let's see what happens, because we do know that when Daniel Levy is under pressure, previously he would always sack the manager. I wonder if any of the pressure now will lead him to make a change somehow in how the club is run. Let's see what happens. Ange Postecoglou unbeaten in 4 games versus Man United as Spurs head coach, 1-3, drawn 1. Well, let's hope that carries on today. Patch Thomas in the comments says, "Tell is awesome." Aussie 1976 says, "What a bench." And Stephen Hill says, "This is a win for Spurs. I hope you're right, mate." But Ben Benson disagrees as they kick off. Spurs kicking from right to left. Ben Benson says it'll be 3-1. Oh, no, 3-1 to Spurs. Okay, that's good. Let me just see how delayed I am, guys. As Spurs get the ball down now with Jed Spence on the left. Gives it into Madders, tries to flick it round the corner. And it does to me look like Tell is starting in the 9, which I'm pleased about. Bergvall gets his first header of the game, but just heads it up in the air straight to a United player. Well in from Pedro Porro there. And Bergvall does well in central midfield. Okay, 54 seconds. So I'm about 20 seconds delayed, guys. So that's not too bad. If you can pause your screen wherever you're watching the game and pause it for 20 seconds or so, then we'll be at the same time. Good to hear Gary Neville in co-coms and not Alan Smith. This is Matthias Tell's Premier League debut. 1 goal so far for Spurs, as Man United taking their time over a free kick that they've got in the left-back position. No buns. If you hear me talking and it doesn't make sense, it's because I'm talking to my dog who is trying to get a ball from under the bed. Classic YouTube fare. Man United taking so long over this free kick. My God, it's been like a minute. Just, I guess, trying to dampen down any atmosphere in the ground. Ben Davies wins the first header, comes to Bergvall. He tries to put his foot on it and manages to get it back to Porro, who plays a nice ball into Rodrigo Bentancur, who gives it out wide to Bergvall. Good stuff from Spurs here in midfield. Porro goes backwards, though, to Bentancur, who comes to Kevin Danso, also making his Premier League debut, of course. And Maddison did go for the shorter ball there in the inside left position and gives it to Spence, who's coming forward. He's got Son outside him, decides to come back narrow and gives it to James Maddison. Madders into Tell. He pops it back to Ben Davies. Madders, like I said, it's what we've missed, him coming in that quarterback role to get the ball for Spurs and control the game. Really like that already from Madders. Spence, though, goes back to Ben Davies. Now Bentancur on the halfway line. Out wide. Porro plays a nice little ball inside to Decky. He's using his strength there. He's going to lose the ball, though, and he does. Quite a few times in the last few months, I've been slightly disappointed with times where Decky has tried to take men on and just loses it a little easily. United played a couple of good balls there, and they're just trying to set Dallo free down the right. And Jed Spence does well to get his body in the way of the ball. Oh, Madders does well on the turn there. He's got nothing here, Madders, and he's pushed over. And that will be a Man United throw, I would have thought. Yeah, you didn't get the foul there, Madders. And the ball goes back to Onana. Tell putting a press on him a little bit, which is good. Onana has to go long. Ben Davies wins the header, and there's a flag against Man United for offside anyway. So 3 minutes gone, pretty slow start, but Spurs getting on the ball. At least. This, of course, is 2 teams lacking in confidence, so maybe not a huge surprise that it's a bit of a tempo-free first few minutes. Ben Davies lays it across to Danso. Hoyland looking to block off the return ball, but he easily finds Bergvall, takes it on the half turn. Bentancur made a little run for him. Actually, it was Porro who made the run for him, but he didn't find him. Comes back to Davies. And now Spence in the little half space gives it into Madders. Lovely turn for Madders, and he's fouled. I love that from Madders. He was in the little 10 position. Spence rolls it into him, and he took it on the half turn. Free kick taken quickly. Son gives it to Spence. He might whip in across here, and he does. It goes towards the back post. Tell goes up for it, but it's headed clear to Garnacho, who plays a terrible pass out wide and good strength to win it back from Decky. Porro with a cross. It's not a great cross, unfortunately, but cleared. That was decent from Spurs. And good recovery there from Danso to win it ahead of Hoyland. Ben Davies now into Jed Spence. Puts his foot on the ball. Spurs looking comfortable on the ball at the moment. Danso into Bergvall. He came short for him. That's nice. And then a little bit of a heavy touch, but he gets away from Xerxes and finds Madders. Good stuff from Bergvall there. Madders whips it into Son's feet and goes for the return. Madders into Tell's feet. Tell is a willing shower in number 9 when Madders has got the ball. Comes to Son. Madders is free again. But at the moment, just 3 centre halves in the middle. So you can see why Spurs aren't trying to get across him. But Son gets towards the byline. Puts a cross. It's a good cross all the way across the back. Kulusevski now. Lays it into Bergvall and gets it back, Decky. Gives it into Rodrigo. They're playing some good stuff here, Spurs. This is a little bit of Ange ball we're seeing. Porro now out wide right to Danso, who's very far up and tries to get across in himself. Madders tries to take a touch on it, but it's cleared, I think, by Casemiro. And Bentancur with a good header back to Danso. Spurs managing to keep some pressure on by keeping the ball here. And it's getting the fans into it a little bit. Spence. Sonny makes an inside run, so Spence can go all the way down the line. He's at the byline now, Spence. And a good cross across the front. Just goes all the way out, though, for a goal kick. Appreciative crowd. Lovely stuff from Jed Spence. Long goal kick from Onana. Ben Davis battling Xerxes for it, but Bentancur got in front of him, actually, and then Tell tried to flick it on. Maguire beats him, and then Tell fouls Maguire. Oh, and Bentancur's gone down. Looks like he's hurt his arm, is it? Oh, no. Is it a clash of heads, maybe? Yeah, both Xerxes and Bentancur. Bentancur looked like he was... Yeah, it's a bit of a... Actually, Xerxes' head into Bentancur's face there. Long diag from Harry Maguire out wide left. And now Spurs press, making United go backwards all the way back to Maguire. Bergvall put the press on there. Tell helped him out. Now Dalot down the right. Plays a good ball towards Højlund, but Danso gets ahead of him, or at least gets the ball out for a throw-in. 7 minutes gone. United, I'll be pretty satisfied with this, I guess, at the moment, in that, you know, they've kept us at arm's length as we try and get a foothold in the game. Good challenge in central midfield from Porro there. And Ben Davis comes to help him out and then goes backwards maybe where he could have gone forwards, but Bergvall helps him and gives it to Spence, who has Madders near him. Madders very near to Spence in that half space on the left at the moment, which is a good place for us. And now Spence just gets ahead of Fernandez and lays it out wide to Sonny, who's fronting up Dalot. Goes back to Rodrigo Bentancur, and it comes to the halfway line for Spurs. And Davis will find Danso, and Spurs have 3 players in the right half space. Danso goes wide to Decky, who's got to keep it here. He does, and ends up going back to Danso. We're back in our own half now. 8 minutes gone. Ben Davis tries something different over the top. Can Son get it down? Oh, it's a good idea from Ben Davis. And a good run from Sonny outside to in. And if he could have just had a little bit less on it, Sonny could have got that down, but it goes straight through to the keeper. I like that. Might have been offside. Now Man United try the big one over the top for Højlund. Oh no, and Vicario's run away from it, even though it came into his box. Very poor from Vicario there, I have to say. And it was a good shot in the end from Højlund. Vicario has to make a save. There is, in a nutshell, United have still got an attack here. They're coming to the edge of the box. And that's a good save, but this is a big chance. And we've cleared it off the line. Wow. That, in a nutshell, is the difference between Vicario and Kinski. He's a better shot stopper, but he's not as good off his line. Dalot with a cross again, and Ben Davis clears it out for a corner. So it's just a long ball over the top from Maguire. Højlund in behind Ben Davis. I'm pretty sure Ben Davis, well, he didn't really know where the ball was, but Vicario let the ball come all the way into his box. Then Højlund has a shot with his left foot, saved at his feet by Vicario, and then Spurs allow another chance. It's a corner now. The second chance comes from a shot. I think it's Garnacho, and then the rebound is cleared off the line by Davis. Outswinger from Fernandez. Free. Oh, looked like a free header for Maguire, but now a shot from outside the box, and that's over the bar. That shows just one ball over the top, which is something Spurs have not dealt with well quite a lot during Ange's time, I'd say, and caused us trouble there. As Danso chips one into midfield, and Bergvall nearly won it, but not quite. Now Man United, oh, they look like they had it on the left, but Garnacho can't control it. So 2 early saves for Vic. He's a great shot stopper. But let me know what you think in the comments. I personally thought he should have been out at the edge of his box. His starting position should have been higher to get the first ball, and it would have meant that none of those 3 chances that came from it would have had to happen. So Kinski probably not quite as good a shot stopper at this stage in his career, but his starting position is so much stronger than Vicario's. Anyway, we're out wide right now with Porro, who's got Bentancur inside him. Always looking to go back first, Bentancur, I think. It's almost like, yeah, anyway, he finds Porro, who does well. And now Bentancur is out wide. Chance to get a cross in. And he gets it to the back stick. Chance for Sonny on the volley. It's a good hit. Comes across the box. Bergvall. Chance to be goal. Is a goal. Now, is he offside? It's Madders. Bergvall had a great shot saved by Onana. But I'm not going to celebrate yet because it could be offside. Cross comes into the back post from Bentancur. Sonny volleyed it across the box. It fell for Bergvall. Great left foot effort from Bergvall. Good save. Now we'll see. So Porro finds Bentancur. Sonny is onside from the cross. He volleys it right across the middle of the box. Comes to Bergvall. Oh yeah, Madders is miles onside. It's 1-0 Tottenham. None, as Gary Neville is saying on co-coms, none of the defenders moved for the rebound, but James Maddison was alert, slots it home from 2 yards. Come on, Madders. I've really loved the way Madders has started this game, picking the ball up off his back 4, coming to get control of the game for Tottenham Hotspur, and I love the fact that he was following up that chance as well, that save from Onana. It was a brilliant snapshot on the left foot from Lucas Bergvall. Good save. But he couldn't hold it, and that's Madders' 9th Premier League goal this season. That's more than I thought. And the fans getting behind us now. Come on, Tottenham. Let's get another one. Because as we know, United do not have a strong bench, so there's not going to be a great deal they can change if they're put under the real cosh. And a little stat there given from the commentator that Spurs have been ahead in a lot of games recently and won none of them. Got a bit more power in the team and on the bench today, though, don't we? This is the problem, though. It's the hope that kills you, doesn't it? We're 1-0 up against Man United. I'm suddenly like, could we? Could we win the Europa League? Could we? Yeah, they're showing the graphic. Spurs, 21 points dropped from winning positions this season. That's the top of everyone in the Premier League. I don't know. I just like the fact that we've got a much stronger bench than Man United today. So even when inevitably some of these players do get tired on 60 minutes. Good strength there from Kevin Danso. Gives it into Bergvall. Good strength from Bergvall. Can he find an out? He does. Finds Bentancur, who gives it to Spence. Do you know what I'm going to say? I've said in the first few minutes and a little bit over the last few weeks that I felt like Bentancur decides to kind of go backwards with his passing when he's got the ball instinctively. But maybe that's because at the moment he's getting so much grief for his inability to kind of hold that sixth position and how easy opposition teams find to play through our midfield, that maybe he's just like, I'm not going to make a mistake. I'm going to stay in this sixth role. I'm going to do everything easy. So maybe on that front, I have to give him some credit. I don't know. Anyway, back with Onana. He plays the ball out to Dalot. Spence on him straight away. Plays a good ball down the line, actually. And then United try and play it down the line, but it's beautifully blocked out from Ben Davis, who plays a good ball into Tell, who actually really good idea from Tell to try and play it round the corner into Son, who wasn't quite ready for it. But it goes back to Onana, who's pressed. And United actually deal with that pretty well. Oh, dear. And then Bruno Fernandes just dives on the floor when he wasn't even touched by Maddison. They shake each other's hands, but Madders, saying to him, I didn't touch you there. 15 minutes gone. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. Maguire now lays it to Mazraoui into central midfield. And that's too much time in central midfield for Xerxes there. And good football from United. And they find their way all the way out to wide left with Dorgu. His first real chance to get forward. Brings it inside to Garnacho. Is he going to have a dig? No, he comes to Fernandes. They're in down the right here. Dalot comes in narrow. Spence gets in a good body position. So Dalot has to come to the edge of the box and far out and finds Casemiro, who chips it over. Kulusevski's got to stop the cross. Deary me, no attempt there from Kulusevski to stop Dorgu's cross, and it was cleared at the near post, I think, by Danso. How many times have I spoken this season about our refusal to try and stop crosses? And again, the ball gets played out to Dorgu in behind, and he's got Porro next to him now. Or with him, sorry. So he comes backwards to Casemiro. Bit of pressure from United here, and they lay it out easily to Dalot, and Spence has to come. And it's going to... it comes back to Fernandes and now Mazraoui. And United being pushed backwards now. And Sonny puts the press on, but now it comes again to Dalot. His first touch brings him in narrow, and Bergvall puts a bit of a press on there, and then he gives away... no, it's a dive. The ref's called it a dive, and Spurs have a chance to transition now. Kulusevski's kind of on his own, though. He's up against De Ligt. He needs help. Someone needs to get near Decky here. Nobody did, so he's turned round here. And he finds Bergvall now. Spurs are a bit deep there, but anyway, we've kept the ball. Interesting that a United player dived there. I think it was Fernandes. That won't surprise you. And the ref didn't book him, but he could do. Anyway, Madders finds Tell, who could turn there, but he doesn't. Just plays his role as the 9 and goes back to Davis. Plays it across to Danso. Oh, nice little run from Porro there. In the it's a beautiful ball from Danso to Porro, by the way. And Porro keeps it just outside the edge of the box. It's good stuff from Porro. Lays it back to Bentancur. Comes across to Spence, who dummies it to Madders. And Sonny now out wide left. Spence made a good run for him. But Sonny chooses to come inside. And this is where any other time, because we're back at Spence, you'd think, get a ball into the box. But actually, we've got no height in the box. Now Spence does try a cross. Comes to Tell's feet. Good touch. Decky on his left. Oh, and do you know what? He finally had a shot blocked by Maguire. But Maguire was on the floor by the time the shot came in. Madders now comes in narrow. But he's got Spence outside him. He finds Spence. Decky making a little run to the byline for him. Spence comes in narrow. Good football from Spurs there, trying something a bit intricate, but they've lost it. And now Xerxes on the turn does really well. And he's fouled. Oh, and United have tried the long one straight over the top, and Garnacho's offside. Don't worry, Bentancur, it's fine. Yeah, Garnacho was offside. At the moment, Spurs, most of the damage being done to Spurs is just from long balls. Kulusevski had to go back there to Danso, who dealt with it well first time, finds Davis. He's pretty calm on the ball, Kevin Danso. Looks like we've got a good one. Spence now has got a bit of space to run into, and he does. He drives. Keep going. Jed does well there to Bergvall. We might have a dig here, Lucas. He doesn't in the end. He tries to find Decky, but it's just the pass is stopped and United clear it. Porro has the throw. Actually didn't go for a throw. He keeps it on. Danso goes in to Kulusevski. Oh, and then back to Davis, who's being pressed here. Danso now pressed. And he plays a nice little ball in to Decky on the half turn. And then Decky is wiped out in a good tackle. And Bentancur does well under pressure, and it comes back to Ben Davis, who's got Maddison again trying to get the ball in that left half space again in between Ben Davis and Son Heung-min. And now Madders finds Son, and it comes back to Rodrigo Bentancur. who turns away and gives it to Ben Davies. Lays it out wide to Danso. Oh, he's maybe taken a touch too many here, and he's fouled. That was clever work from Danso, actually, I have to say, because he knew that he could feel the touch. So he's waiting for the right pass, but he knew that if he felt the touch from behind him from Højlund, he could just go to ground, and he did that and won a free kick. Now, Bentancur to Ben Davies, who's got Spence ahead of him, and he finds him. This is where Spurs are doing a lot of their work at the moment in this left-sided half space. Spence gives it to Madders on the half turn, who's fouled again, this time by Mazraoui. It looked more like a slip, but he did get a push first. Maddison's got the bit between his teeth today. You can tell he wants to be on the ball all the time. 20 minutes gone. We haven't got Matthias Tell into this game yet. But I guess he is up against, on his own, up against 3 centre-backs. So maybe his best chance in this game will be later in the game when things stretch a bit. As Davies finds Maddison well around the corner. And Maddison, nearly has the ball taken off him there. Fernandez, brilliant from Madders though. And then finds Jed Spence, who loses it, unfortunately. Good strength there from Rodrigo Bentancur though. And then Spence tried to find Tell, but Harry Maguire came in ahead of him and he stepped out, Maguire now, and he's driving, and Bergvall can't stay with him. And they found Højlund out wide left. This is out wide right. This is a big chance for United here. Cuts it back to Deki Kulusevski. And now Madders. And Son's touch is just horrible. And Mazraoui is able to step in front of him when Spurs had a chance to transition then. And then Xerxes has nutmegged Bergvall, and United now have the ball out wide left. Dorgu can find Garnacho. No, it comes into Xerxes, but he cuts in. He's going to have a shot, is he? And it goes wide. United now have won it back again in midfield, breaking forward. They're in on the left. Terrible defending from Spurs. And Garnacho has missed an absolute stone cold, such an easy chance. And again, where is Pedro Porro? Where is Pedro Porro? He's in central midfield. Garnacho, in the end, I'm sorry, but he's only 8 yards out. And you got to give credit to Kevin Danso because he put in a huge slide tackle that put Garnacho off. But that should be 1-1. And Spurs, again, just creating our own downfall here. Just putting ourselves under pressure midfield. Bergvall's done it again. He's lost the ball up the pitch now. What the fuck are we doing? Jesus Christ. We're 1-0 up for fuck's sake. Just Spurs being I'm just seeing the replay of it. Spurs being attracted to the ball, and so it's so easy to find Garnacho. But Spurs now just really just losing the ball time and time again in central midfield. And they're in down the left again here, Man United. And Dalot is free at the back post. And it comes to Dalot. He's going to have a volley. It's a good effort across the box. And Bentancur's not even trying, so it comes back across the box. And Vicario can claim it. Fucking hell, Spurs. And now it comes to the transition. Bergvall with a good first touch. Now give it to Kulusevski. But he doesn't. He keeps it. He's got Deki outside him. But he holds it. He keeps holding it. He's done well here, Bergvall, actually, and finds Madders on the inside. And now we've got space over on the left. Jed Spence finds Sonny in the box now, Sonny. Little step over, maybe? No, he doesn't. He comes narrow when he shouldn't, and he loses it. Poor start to this game from Son Heung-min, I'm afraid, again. And now Man United in down the left, and this is the basketball game now that maybe you'd expect with Dorgu. Finds Garnacho wide left. United have 4 forward. Comes narrow because at least this time Porro did stay with Dorgu, and Fernandez fronts up for a shot, and then Tell gets fouled. Tell did well there. And Tottenham, who started this game so well, are now kind of being drawn into something that isn't very enjoyable. The basketball game, and United look like they're getting in down the left. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I'd really like to see when Udogie is properly fit, I'd like to see Pedro Porro getting a rest and Spence playing at right back and Udogie come in at left back for a bit more physicality and defensive ability. Ben Davis plays across to Kevin Danso, who finds Madders. Madders, beautiful ball to Son Heung-min, who's in the box. He puts his foot on it, lays it back. Good effort from Tell. Saved by Onana wide. And he cut it back to Tell on his left foot, goes for the near post. It's an easy save for Onana. But that's the first save, the first chance we've created for Tell. Son with the corner. Is he going to try and put this on Onana's head? We did score one from a corner against United in the League Cup, didn't we? It's cleared at the near post, but only to Kulusevski. Can he lay it back? He tries to take a man on there. Madders on the edge of the box. Gives it to Bentancur. He's got Decky outside him. Decky on the left now, but comes back to Bentancur, who's going to try a cross here. He tries the kind of height cross towards Kevin Danso, who does well, gets his body in the way, and then tries a kind of Cruyff turn and ends up with a Man United throw. 27 minutes gone. Still 1-0 to Spurs. Over 1,000 of you watching at the moment, guys. Please do give the video a like and make sure you subscribe to Chris's channel at Chris Cowlin. And if you're not already a subscriber to my channel at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Spurs news, views, transfers, rumors, and everything. At Barnaby Slater _ guys. Thank you for your support. Getting close to 15,000 subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber, please do come and join the community. Dalot. Spurs just putting the press on United a little bit. So it comes back to Onana, who has to go long. And Ben Davis picks up the first ball and goes inside well. Bruno slides in, but Madders gets in ahead of him. Oh, and there was a little run from Decky there, but he couldn't find him, so he puts his foot on it. And Madders again. Lovely ball inside from Decky. Madders gets it back. Goes to Bergvall. This is good stuff for Madders. Spurs looking best when Maddison's on the ball. Comes out wide to Porro. Decky made him a run, but couldn't find him. Comes back to Bergvall, who finds Bentancur, who tries to slip it through the middle. And in the end, it's De Ligt who has to clear it. It was Kulusevski trying to make an intricate little run in behind. Now it's a throw to Spence, who does it into Tell's feet. Takes a good touch, Tell. That's good from him. Now Spurs start again, bringing it back to the halfway line, and Ben Davis. I'm enjoying the balance so far between Davis and Danso. Into Bergvall. He plays a lovely ball in between the lines. It was a good run from Porro. Now it comes out wide to Kulusevski, who puts in Porro down at the byline. Can he get across? He does. It's a beautiful cross. Dalot had to clear it from under his own post. Amazing cross from Porro. Really, Sonny should have been in there because it was at the back post. Spurs still with the ball with Jed Spence. Into Madders, who tried something a little too clever, but he got it back. Comes to Sonny. And Spurs start again now. Bergvall in the right half space. Gets away from Fernandez. Gives it into Decky. Gives it back to Bergvall. Rolling his foot over the ball now. Looking confident here, Lucas. Goes back to Pedro Porro. Well, that might have been Bentancur. I can't see. It's quite far away. No, now Bentancur turned away. Give it to Danso. He's got some time. He might give it back to Bentancur here. No, Danso trying something a bit longer with a big cross field up to Sonny. He's going to have to challenge Dalot. That was a bit of an unlikely one. And now Tell comes to get the ball. Does beautifully, Tell. Gives it to Maddison, then gets it back. And Tell now driving through the middle. He's got no options really here. And then he plays a really horrible ball. Porro. Well, both Garnacho and Porro didn't really fancy the 50-50 there. Oh, and Madders has just lost it on the half turn here. And United are through. And they're in down the right here. And it's Fernandez running in towards the box, tries to chip it. But that was good defending work from Bentancur, who got himself back in his box and now finds Jed Spence, who's driving at United. This is beautiful from Jed Spence. Good ball out to Sonny now, who's down the left. Nobody's in the box yet. Tell asking him to wait. Sonny driving towards the box. He nearly loses it to Mazraoui, but takes it back to Jed Spence. Good driving stuff from Jed Spence there. Started this game well as well. Half an hour gone now. Bentancur into Tell's feet. Tried to find Maddison, who's fouled, but not given by the ref. And United now with Fernandez coming through. Tell trying to press him, and that pressure actually helped. And Bentancur wins it back. Good stuff. Madders not happy that he wasn't given that foul, but come back into the game, Madders. Come and get it off this midfield. Bentancur into Bergvall. Out wide now to Decky. I think this game is set up nicely for when, let's assume that Odebear and Johnson are fit enough to play 20 minutes. Could be set up nicely for the kind of gaps that they'd have to use their pace into in that last quarter of the game. But ideally by then, we'd have a couple of goals. Danso out wide. Kulusevski is being pressured by two players here. And he's got to keep it, and he does. He goes back to Vicario nicely. Davis working hard to give Vicario an angle, and he gets it off him. And now Jed Spence has a lot of room to run into. Maddis now getting the ball off Spence again. Turns and has to turn again as Fernandez presses him. Danso inside to Bergvall. Oh, does well, Bergvall. Just a little drop of the shoulder beats Casemiro. He knows he's got Casemiro's legs. Finds Kulusevski, tries a little dink into Bentancur. That's good. He's on the byline, Bentancur, but then plays a bad pass. But it's cleared by De Ligt for another Spurs corner. Come on, Spurs. We just got to not give United a sniff in this game because they're already looking like they're jogging a bit, Man United. I've said this so many times on these watch-alongs and in videos. When Tottenham are playing badly, you can see clips where the Spurs are just jogging about when we haven't got the ball. And that's what's happening with United a little bit at the moment. And what Tottenham need to do is get another goal, press home the advantage, and really make these players' heads drop because United are not enjoying this at the moment. But we are giving them little bits of sniffs of chances to get back in this game on the transition. Okay, here comes the outswinger. Bentancur. Oh, he was pushed over there, and it comes to Bergvall, but it was a free kick first. The irony there, Bentancur was pushed over as he's about to head the first one. Ref doesn't give it as a pen because they always think. And then he gives a free kick against Bergvall for a push that was probably nothing near as bad. Casemiro just diving on the floor, and then Bergvall tried a little scissor kick that went over the bar anyway. He started pretty decently, Bergvall, working hard in this game. 33 minutes gone. Onana with the long goal kick. Ben Davis challenging for this one. Wins it. Well played. And it was offside anyway. So Spurs will have the ball just in their own half. Ben Davis. He's got Jed Spence, who's got men around him. He finds Madders. He goes back to Ben Davis. Good stuff from Spurs there. Davis just waiting for some movement. Finds Spence. Now Ben Davis goes back to Vicario, who finds Danso with his left foot. And Danso now in the right back position. Lovely ball from Danso into Tell, whose touch is poor, and Spurs lose it. And then Madders with a bad foul. Be lucky to get away with a booking for this. It was a heavy touch. I think the ref being quite lenient there, I have to say. Free kick comes into the Spurs box now, and Maguire's ahead of Spurs, but just kicks it off for a goal kick. Really good to see there Kevin Danso playing a very Christian Romero-esque ball in between the lines into Tell's feet. That led to what happened with Madders there. Bentancur trying to get away from Højlund there. Good football from Spurs now. Son has found Spence, who's in loads of space, driving forward. Plays it down the channel into Tell. He's got a man with him. So he rolls his foot on it. Comes in narrow. Tell does well. Finds Spence outside the box. Oh, just went for across towards Decky, and he keeps it on Kulusevski, which I'm surprised at. And then Dorgu kicks it off. It's just a poor cross there from Spence, but it was really good stuff from Matthias Tell, showing some of his talent there in the channel. Spurs have the ball again with Danso, who finds Davis. Comes back to Danso. Good ball inside to Bergvall, and now some space for Bentancur to drive into. Doesn't look that comfortable. It finds Porro out wide. Good cross across the box from Porro, and that goes off for a goal kick. Even if that had been the perfect cross, I have to say Sonny was not in at the back post anyway. And I'm intrigued by that because you think with the way Ange likes to do things, you know, it really is about getting the ball out wide and then getting the opposite forward in at the back post. And Sonny doesn't really do that. Certainly not in the way that Jed Spence does. In the way that Brennan Johnson does, or even Timo Werner does. Obviously, they're all different players, but those two are certainly like absolutely all about trying to get into that back post. But Sonny doesn't really do it. Bentancur wins the header in midfield. Tell holds it up pretty well there, actually. Really good stuff from Tell. Finds Bentancur again. He finds Bergvall, and it's back to Bentancur, and we've got a bit of time on the ball now. Bentancur finds Bergvall. They're both very close to each other, and now we're pressed back to Ben Davis, who comes to Kevin Danso. Might need to go back to the keeper here. Yeah, he's turned. And this might have to be a long one. Oh, dear. Really good football in the end from Spurs, but Kulusevski's second to the ball, and United now in a good position. And it's a foul in midfield. It was very nearly beautiful football to play out of the press from Spurs, but it's such dangerous football sometimes that you know just one loose pass and United are in good position, and that's what happened. And it's Casemiro, and it's Ben Davis who just arrives a little bit late on Casemiro. I wonder if he'll get booked for this. No, it's not a dirty foul. He doesn't even get him with his foot or his studs. But this is a free kick to United. A relatively dangerous area. It's too far out for a shot, but they will get a chance to chip this into the box here. It's chipped into the box, and Vicario is pressured, and he was offside anyway, but under pressure from De Ligt, Vicario dropped the ball. Okay, De Ligt was offside anyway, that's for sure. I mean, that was definitely a foul on Vicario. He was brave, he came for it, and De Ligt just ploughed through him, really. Anyway, Vicario has the ball at his feet now. Comes to Jed Spence, who drives narrow. Beautiful play from Spence, and he was fouled. Spence has been outstanding so far, dropping his shoulder, beating a man to get out of the press. Oh, Spurs have lost it in midfield, unfortunately, and Madders gives away another foul. Frustrating how quickly we're losing the ball in midfield, because really that gives United the option to take these free kicks and chip them into the box, which, you know, pretty good chance for them. I mean, this free kick is just inside the United half, and they're just like, yeah, we're going to get this launch. We're going to get this in the box. It'll be so frustrating when we inevitably concede from one of these. Fernandez with it. Oh, he goes to the right, actually, and it's Casemiro free in the box. He just loops an up and under to the back post. And this is head tennis here. This is poor from Spurs, and in the end, Spence clears it. It was head tennis, like just around the 6-yard box. And that's for me where Vicario's got to be assertive. I'm sorry, but Kinski, you know, he's not as good a shot stopper as Vicario, but that's where he would be more assertive and just come across the box. Oh, good touch from Son now. Possible transition for Spurs. Son is fouled horribly from behind by Casemiro. That is a horrible tackle. They were outlawed about 30 years ago. And Casemiro is pretending to be injured himself to try and stop him from getting a booking, but he's not going to stop himself getting a booking. We were away there, so it was a bad foul. Oof. Yeah, not good. They can really do your ligaments on your ankles, those ones as well. 1,300 of you, over 1,300 watching this concurrently at the moment, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Sonny's still down, which is a bit of a worry. Please do press like on this video. The more likes we get on this video, wherever you're watching, but YouTube, Facebook, wherever, the more likes, the more Spurs fans this will get seen by. Please do get in the comments, guys. At halftime, I will be in the comments answering all of your questions and thoughts. And that is only in about 5 minutes' time as Casemiro gets his yellow card. Bentancur puts his arm around him. Just concentrate on your game, Rodrigo. And Gary Neville, again, going in on Casemiro having lost his legs. Remember, this is a big Sky narrative that Casemiro doesn't have the legs for the Premier League. So Ben Davies on the ball. He goes across to Danso, who gets pressed by Højlund. So he comes back across to Vicario. He's got 3 ahead of him now. So he finds Ben Davies with his left foot, and Davies has got some room to run into. Plays a good little ball to Jed Spence. Oh, he's just knocked out of it by Mazraoui, unfortunately. Now Maguire. And a good little block from Spence wins us back the ball with Maddison, who goes back to Bentancur. Bergvall now being pressed. He finds Kevin Danso. Danso just getting ahead of Højlund. Oh, Danso does well. Good 1-2 from Kevin Danso. Give it inside, Danso does to Bergvall. Good stuff. And Big Kev has carried on. And a chance for Maddison to get the ball down now. Lovely touch from Madders. Come back this way. Yes, he does. Decky is in an interesting half-space position, but he doesn't find him. He goes straight to Son. And Decky makes a run outside Son. And it's a cross just headed at the near post from Madders straight up to Onana, unfortunately. That was promising from Spurs. And Onana now finds... Oh, lovely start. Oh, Porro nearly won it off Dorgu. But at least he took a chance, because Porro, if he'd missed that, it hit him in the end and goes out for United throw. But if it had gone over him, United were in. But if it had not gone out for throw, Spurs were in. And that is the nature of this game at the moment. On transition, looking like a bit of a basketball game. Good blocking from Jed Spence there. United play it down the line quite well. Fernandes under pressure. Goes inside to Casemiro, who kicks it off the pitch. Good stuff from Spurs. 42 minutes gone. It's a nice feeling knowing that these players on the pitch for Spurs can continue to just work as hard as they can and play Ange ball, play this style as much as they can, because we've got players on the bench who have legs and experience. Matthias Tell working to try and give Jed Spence an option from the throw. Oh, a lovely turn from Spence. He's so good. And that's a foul. Beautiful from Jed Spence. He was under pressure from a throw-in, so he just rolls and runs down the line and then beats his man again. What a performance so far from this man. I'm telling you, he will be close. He will be close to Thomas Tuchel's England squad, Jed Spence. England are not blessed with left backs at the moment. And although he's not, not naturally left back, he's right-footed. He's so confident on the ball. Anyway, this is a free kick to Spurs, and Sonny's over it. It's what is it? Probably about 35 yards out in the left space, so it's going to be a kind of in-swinger towards the back post. Ben Davies is forward. Danso is forward. Other than that, as ever with Spurs, not a great deal of physicality. So it'll have to be the perfect delivery. United defending their line on the 18, their back line on the 18-yard box. Here comes the in-swing. It's a good delivery. Good clearance at the near post, I think, by Maguire, maybe Casemiro. It's terrible second clearance, and maybe Kulusevski could have been stronger there. Anyway, that's up in the air. And Spurs, there's a bit of a scrap in central midfield there. Bentancur. Oh, dear me. Bizarre bit of football, but Xerxes has come away with it. And United have players in down the left. But Maddison did really well there to whip it off Fernandes' feet. Madders coming forward now. He's got Tell outside him. Tell in the right forward spot now. Has to go. Oh, just loses the ball really easily, Tell there. That was poor. Into the 45th minute now. See how much added time there is as Dorgu comes forward and Bergvall fouls him. Just 1 minute added. And Spurs need to work here. 5 Spurs players caught ahead of the ball as United come forward here. And Kulusevski and Maddison both get in. Just 1 minute added at the end of this half, guys. United get it to the right with Dalot. Mazraoui. They're back in their own half now, Man United. Maguire, looking for options, comes right for Dalot. And Sonny needs to put in a shift here, and he does. Gets in front of him. Casemiro. And Mazraoui plays it to De Ligt, who comes forward. He's got Dorgu outside him, who he finds. So, Decky, you've got to come and help here and stop a cross. It doesn't get cross. It comes to Garnacho in the half space. Casemiro. De Ligt now with the big switch. And Jed Spence working hard to get out to Dalot. So did Son. And it flicked into the box, but Davis clears it. And that is half-time. Okay, so half-time is Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 0. It has been pretty comfortable for Spurs, who have been the better team, absolutely. However, just a few times, I would say, and I will go through the match action with a kind of minute by minute, but just a few times where I would say that Tottenham have almost tried to play the perfect example of Ange ball through midfield and therefore lost the ball in midfield a few times. And that has really been all that's allowed United to get any kind of hope and any chances. Just a few little breaks into the box. And as always, we look most dangerous in our right back position behind Pedro Porro. Anyway, so it was a quiet first few minutes. Then the 4th minute, I've just made a note. Lovely start for James Maddison, where he won the free kick on a half turn. He's been great so far this game, really up for it. Taking the ball from his back four, from his number 6, but also getting into that number 10 position and taking the ball on the half turn as well, causing United real trouble. And in the battle of the number 10s, he's certainly outplayed Bruno Fernandes so far. 6th minute, I've just said, good start for Spurs, keeping the ball, moving United around. Lovely stuff from Jed Spence getting to the byline down the left. And then there was a little clash of heads between Xerxes and Bentancur. That's the first note I made about Jed Spence, who I think has been the player of the game so far. He's the only player on the Spurs team, really, who when the ball comes to him, he is looking to be direct with his running. Drop a shoulder, come in narrow, break forward, and then find good passes. Little 1-2s as well. Been very impressed with Jed Spence. 8th minute, good ball over the top from Ben Davis. Sonny had made an out-to-in run in behind Manchester United's back three. And the ball just dropped over the top from Davis. Unfortunately, was just a tiny bit ahead of Sonny's run. So it skipped through off the wet turf to Onana. But that was good to see Spurs trying to do something different as well. That keeps United in two minds, really, doesn't it? Obviously, we're going to be trying to play through the lines and round the corners and 1-2s from the back four, etc. But then if they press up too high and Sonny can make the right run, then little opportunities there as well. 9th minute, probably United's best moment of the game. In my opinion, and as an ex-goalkeeper, and having seen Kinski since he's arrived at the club, Vicario just showing in the 9th minute how his starting position is not as aggressive as Kinski's, and it needs to improve. A ball came over the top, and it came all the way into Vicario's box, and he could have easily collected it if his starting position was higher, but he didn't. And as a result, Højlund picks it up, comes onto his left foot, has a shot, well saved with his feet from Vicario, but then United conjure another chance, where it comes to Garnacho on the inside left position. He cuts onto his right foot, shoots, and Vicario has to save it with one hand. And then it came to a rebound, good opportunity for Dalot, who tries to fire it in, but gets it across the box, and Davis kind of clears it from just under his own bar, really. It wasn't going in, but it was an important clearance from Ben Davis. So that was kind of United's best moment of the half for sure. And just, yeah, Spurs need to be careful. 12th minute was the goal, James Maddison. The cross came into the back post from Bentancur. Really good cross. Sonny was free at the back post, so he tries to volley it. And it's kind of, I think with one of those, what Sonny is trying to do, really, because it was a very acute angle. He's just trying to get some pace on it. And then if it goes towards goal, great. And if not, if it goes into the middle of the box, it could deflect anyway. It went into the middle of the box, deflects off a United player into Lucas Bergwall, who I think takes a touch and then gets a really great left-footed shot from around the penalty spot away. Onana has to dive to his left, makes a decent save, but cannot hold it. And James Maddison following up. And I was surprised to see this on the graphic. His 9th Premier League goal of this season. I mean, that's an incredible return, considering he hasn't started a lot of games for Spurs, and he's been injured at times as well. So a really good return for Madders. 18th minute, some good pressure from Spurs around the box. It didn't come to anything, but just trying to play it around the box. United have so many players kind of within the width of their 18-yard box because they play that 3-5-2, 5-3-2 system. Tottenham trying to be intricate and find it, but not really happening. And then I've just made a note in the 18th minute. Most damage to Spurs is being done from kind of long, straight balls over the top, because they tried another one that nearly got them in. But Spurs, catching United offside from a lot of those as well. Just another note I've made in the 20th minute about how Maddison wants the ball all the time. We've really missed that from him in the last 6 games where he's not been available. 21st minute, poor from Sonny as he lost it, as he does far too regularly with his back to goal in the halfway line. And as a result, United ended up with a shot just wide from the inside left position from Joshua Zirkzee. Quite a few occasions where Tottenham have been pretty good around midfield and worked into a good position in United's half, and then we've lost it back to goal. United's kind of back three and wing back stepping in to win the ball ahead of our forwards. We've got to be better with that. Then the 22nd minute, a huge chance for Garnacho. Porro nowhere to be seen in his right back position, and Garnacho, actually, this was definitely their best chance, had a huge chance. He was only 8 yards out, and actually Kevin Danso just dives at his feet, which I think will have got in Garnacho's eye line, and as a result, he absolutely skied it. And Spurs very lucky not to have been equalised against there. So well done, Kevin Danso. 24th minute, I've just written very poor last few minutes in midfield for Spurs. Keep losing it, and as a result, it's become a bit of a basketball game. The first 25 minutes weren't really a basketball game until that moment. Tottenham just not able to kind of get control of midfield in those few minutes there. 25th minute, great ball from Madders to Son. That was a beautiful pass, actually. And Sonny was in behind his fullback. Then Sonny cut it back to Tell, who made a good strike towards the near post. Pretty easy save for Andre Onana. 28th minute, beautiful cross from Porro, cleared from under his own bar from Dallo. Sonny wasn't in at the back post, unfortunately. 30th minute, I made another note. Spence driving forward well and endlessly throughout this half. 34th minute, bad touch from Tell led to a wild slide in from Madders, who was very lucky not to be booked. The ref has been quite lenient, actually, in this half. Casemiro has been booked, but Madders got away with one. And actually, it was a beautiful ball between the lines, kind of Christian Romero-esque from Kevin Danso, that led to that bit of play. So it's good to see Danso getting more and more confident. 37th minute, Spurs tried to break the press with perfect edge ball, but it's difficult. They keep kind of losing the ball and giving United hope. But another note, Spence has been so good so far this game, dropping his shoulder, beating players, and really trying to break the United press. They're just showing Garnacho's miss again there. He just really gets under it. He's trying to bend it into the far corner, but no need for him to put so much pace on it, and it goes over the bar. 39th minute is that foul from Casemiro. Son fouled horribly from behind. Son looked a little bit, he stayed down for a bit there. And then 43rd minute, just another note, more brilliant play from Jed Spence. And that is what has led to half-time. 1-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. Chris Jones in the comments saying, was anyone at the ENIC out thingy? Opinions? Well, obviously I wasn't there, but I've seen some of the social media videos, and there are definitely more people at it than I've seen at those protests before. So that is good. Coolidge says, Kulu pretty quiet. Yeah, he still looks pretty tired, doesn't he, Decky? Phil C says, Tell isn't 100% match fit. And yes, the first big home game is going to play on his nerves. I think he's had some nice touches, Tell. And obviously he got that shot on target, which is good. But let's see what happens. Coolidge says, Bentancur has been pretty decent. Sean, Porro does make everyone nervous. Better from Bentancur this game. Yeah. Phil C, I can definitely see Porro giving a break and Spence shifting to the right with Udogie on the left. Last 20 minutes, maybe. Yeah, that is possible. And Gardu, thanks for your comment, mate, says transitions will get you every time, especially while we're gaining stability with possession game. Yeah, good point. Michael Zeng, thank you for your comments. Says great anticipation and off the ball running from Madders' goal. Yeah, I've really been impressed with Madders. Shows how much we've missed him today. Stephen Murphy. Little bit of realism maybe from Stephen. I'll put it up. Can't see Spurs keeping a clean sheet. Still very fragile at the back. I've quite enjoyed the balance between Davis and Danso, certainly on the ball. I think it's more in midfield where we look like we're just trying to do the kind of almost perfect thing too many times. I mean, we could just let United try and get the ball off us, couldn't we? Rather than trying to force the perfect bit of play all the time. And it's when we lose the ball in midfield from trying to play out of the back perfectly and kind of zipping it about, that then, Porro is caught ahead of the ball, and that is certainly the biggest danger. Sean says, Vic needs to move it quicker sometimes and slower others. Dave B says, Danso looks really good. Super J3600 says, Vic still sketchy playing out from the back. He's been okay so far today. I wouldn't say he's looked that sketchy. Phil C, Danso maybe a lump, but he's a ball-playing lump. Coke Can, thanks for your comment, says, I agree about Spence. Be interested to see if Ange changes Spence through Doggy later, or he takes off Porro and shifts Spence to his natural side. And Dave B says, two struggling teams. Not sure they're poor. And Coolidge says, player of the match, Lucas Bergvall so far. Henry, thank you for your comment. Really appreciate it. Says, I find we play too narrow. We need the outlet pass into wide areas. I mean, that's all part of the Ange ball game, isn't it? Pretty narrow at times. I mean, we don't have any pace on the pitch really at the moment out wide either, do we? So yeah, that's why we're going to be narrow, I guess. Once again, guys, over 1,600 of you watching concurrently. Really appreciate it. Please do give this video a like wherever you are watching. The more likes we get, the more people will be pushed towards this watch along. And do make sure you subscribe to Chris's channel. It's at Chris Cowlin on YouTube. And also you can see in the bottom left there, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Barnaby Slater _. I bring you daily Tottenham Hotspur content at the moment, doing live videos every weekday at 12:30 about all things Spurs. So come and tune in, get involved in the comments, and chat with me every day about my beloved Spurs. It's been a difficult time, but if we could finish off this game, beat Manchester United, that would be 2 Premier League games won in a row. Ipswich away next wouldn't be easy, but we'd have a week in between this game and that game, and hopefully some more players coming back from injury as well. I'll also remind you of the itinerary for the Spurs content on Chris Cowlin's channel. So I'll be doing the finishing the watch along, of course, for this live game in the second half. And then I will bring you a instant post-match reaction about the whole game. After that, it will be the fan show where I speak to fans from all around the world. And if you want to get involved in a future fan show, you can email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. Drop Chris an email there and he'll get you on to talk to me after one of these games. And then after that, at 7:30, Chris will be here with the Spurs Chat podcast, on which he will be with Craig Dearman, Liam Fairhead, and Orkan Bassar. So make sure you keep an eye on that. Also, Chris is at the game and posting videos across his YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for those. I know he posted a video with some footage from the protest, so go and check that out. And I'm sure he's probably posting fan celebration videos and stuff like that. Chris Cowlin, the Don of Tottenham Hotspur content. I think this month Chris was 3rd in the overall list of fan channels content in the entirety of the UK, behind the United Stand and one other. So that's pretty amazing. Chris is a one-man band, so it's amazing how much content he brings for you guys. Let's see what else you guys are saying in the comment. Phil DeRoon, thanks for your comment, mate. Says Spence outstanding, Maddison looks dangerous, and Danso solid. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Stephen Murphy, though, says 2 poor teams, to be honest. TSOM says we did well, a good half. We controlled the game in large spells. A bit worried about Porro getting isolated, but otherwise very good. Spencer's our best player. Yeah, the isolation of Porro, we should take that into account. You know, I give Porro a lot of stick about, you know, the chances that come from in behind him. But I do have to keep saying Deki Kulusevski and his fatigue, and maybe it's a mix of fatigue and maybe not really wanting to play on the right wing anymore. You know, he's had a taste of the forbidden fruit playing in the 8 and 10 role. And he probably thinks now I should be playing in that every game. So he never works hard enough back to help Porro, I think, and he doesn't stop enough crosses. And we know how susceptible Spurs are to conceding goals from crosses. Sean Ansell, thanks for your comment, says we need a nice win, bit of confidence to take with players back. Yeah, agreed. Tim Langford, Spence, Danso Davis playing great. Justin Felton, another Spence man of the match performance. Sean says week off, different teams. Surprised ? Well, Man United have had a week off as well. And let's just say, I've been saying it since the beginning of this watch along. Let's keep in this game and ideally stay ahead, maybe get another goal when it comes to kind of 65, 70 minutes, and the United team will be tired, and they do not have a bench at all. They've only got Lindelof on the bench, who isn't a kid, to be totally honest. Blake Deere, thanks for your comment, mate. Says, first time we've seen front foot / confident football for a little while. The strengthened squad is making it look good. Spencer's been great. Completely agree. Samson, thank you for your comments. Is most dangerous through Spence to Madders to Tell. Yeah, I like Tell's first touch. I'd like to get him in behind if we can. Let's get some options for him in behind. Phil C says, I never liked seeing Deki Kulusevski out on the right. Such a waste of natural talent. Sean EJ Daniel, thank you for your comment, mate. Says, not comfortable with the performance so far. We need to score more goals. And Chris Jones says, the Times says that Ange is breaking players in training. Well, Ange has been saying, hasn't he, that we haven't really been training much over the last few months, just recovering. So let's see. Phil DeRoom says, Barnaby, where's your lucky top? Well, we lost in it, mate. So I've stopped wearing it. It was lucky. I think we won a couple of games with it, but then we lost. And I think we were absolutely pumped as well. I think I wore it for the second leg of the Carabao Cup game against Liverpool. Chris Jones just saying about Solanke, it will take a while still. Not sure he'll be ready for Europa next. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, I've come around. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I've come around to the idea that we don't play Romero or Van de Ven or Solanke until the Europa League, and we only play them in the Europa League. That's what I'd like to see. Because we've got to wrap them in cotton wool. Europa League's everything for us. And yeah, they're just showing the United bench. Apart from Lindelof, the ages of their bench is 18, 18, 17, 19, 19, 17, 17, and 19. Gardy, this is a good comment. Ben Davies is actually a really smart footballer. Intention behind his passes is constantly attacking. You can see his mind working out how to put receiver in position that translates to momentum in the final third. I love that, Gardy. Thank you. And I completely agree. Ben Davies, incredibly underrated, both in terms of his football, his passing, and his importance to Tottenham Hotspur as a professional. Phil C says, bunch of kids on United bench. We know all about that. Exactly. And Henri, thank you for your comments, says, our bench looks good. The teams are back out now on the pitch as Ange takes a sip of water out of a carton. For me, this is all about, we've got to get the next goal. Don't give United a sniff. Get the next goal and their heads will drop, hopefully, and then roll them over with our finishers off the bench. As Sonny gets them into a little huddle. I just want us to play it smart. United need to come at us. Don't be in a position where Amorim, who has no doubt said in the half-time break, oh, Spurs will try and do it perfectly and we'll lose the ball in midfield and you'll have a chance in down the left. I would like to see us just keep the ball for a bit, make United come at us so we can open up spaces. But at the moment, I'd say United's best chances are really coming from either one of two things. Straight long balls over the top, or Spurs just trying to do it absolutely perfectly down the middle, losing it on the transition and United breaking forward. As Ben Davies wins yet another header. He's been great so far. Harry Maguire heads it back. And Sonny puts the pressure on Mazraoui. Oh, and Spurs nearly winning the ball high up there. And Ben Davies helps out. And Jed Spence now has it. Gives it inside to Madders, who tries to play it over the top to Son. Son wasn't quite ready for it. And it comes back to Anana, who's going to have to go long. He does. Bergvall up for the header. He's good in the air, Bergvall. Casemiro picks it up. And then plays the ball over the top of Kulusevski, and Porro wasn't even there, and Kulusevski fouls. And then Decky has gone down. He's got a bang in the face there. He worked back well there, Decky, to help Porro, because Porro is nowhere to be seen. And it was just one ball over the top into that right back position. And Dorgu was, in a really positive position. Kulusevski really helped out, but gave away a free kick. He got a little bit of a bang in the jaw for his troubles. So another chance for United to swing the ball into the box. They're not interested really under Amorim, certainly not at the moment with playing cute football when they get free kicks. Any chance they can, they're just putting it into the box. Vicario is tempted to come out, but it comes to Maguire at the back post. Oh, and then terrible from Maddison. Went up for a header and just let it fly over his head. Anyway, it's been kicked out and Tell now has it on the left-hand touchline. He's got his head up. He waits for Spurs players to come near him and he finds Spence. He doesn't have an option, so he tries an outside of the football. It was a weird little pass, that one. Spence trying to find Son, who'd made a run over the top of United's back three, but it was easily picked off. Oh, Fernandez played a terrible ball there, and Decky picks it up. And Maddison, Spurs have just about kept the ball now. It comes to Porro. He's on his own, Porro. He tries to play it through. Oh, and Fernandez back heels it to Dorgu. And Bergvall comes in well. And now Dorgu. Don't foul him. He gives it away, Dorgu, to Porro. Looks like he's kicked that off the pitch. Oh, no, kept in well by Decky. And in the end, that was beautiful from Kulusevski. He really put the pressure on De Ligt. De Ligt was trying to shepherd the ball out for a goal kick. And Decky Kulusevski got the wrong side of him. Keeps it on. And then De Ligt absolutely panicked and just kicked it out for a corner. Now, can Spurs benefit from this? Porro's going to swing it in as an outswinger. Spurs not very physical compared to Man United, I think it's fair to say. Garnacho marking Bentancur. It's a good delivery, cleared easily by Maguire. Comes to the edge of the box with Maddison, who lays it out to Porro. Going to get another cross in here, Porro. It's a good one. When it comes all the way to the back. Bergvall with a shot, doesn't get hold of it. And then Danso ends up having a shot, is it? Oh, pressure on Maguire, but deals with it. And Spurs have won it back in midfield. Bergvall, man on, Matters. Man on, mate. He gives it back to Bergvall. Man on now, Bentancur. Gives it to Spence. Good stuff in midfield from Spurs. Sonny goes out wide of Spence. And this is where I think Spurs can just knock it about a bit. Make United come to them. Matters to Spence. Gives it back to Matters. And that seems to be what's happening here. Out wide to Son. Gives it back to Matters. They're just trying to draw United out. Bentancur to Davis. And he'll give it to Danso. Just into United's half now. Danso looks to give it to Kulusevski, who tries something too difficult, but United can't get it out. And now Danso picks it up well, and Bentancur now, who lays it across to Jed Spence. Loads of space in front of Jed Spence, but he goes early to Sonny, who's fronting up Dallo now. Oh, dearie me. Son tries to put a cross in, just hikes it out. He's not having a great game, Sonny. Now United try a big crossfield ball. It finds its way to Dorgu. Tell is turned away from by De Ligt. Now Dorgu is in down the left. And it's actually Højlund. He's caught offside. And that's not the first time. Porro was working back hard anyway. That's a free kick to Spurs. 50 minutes gone. Danso standing over the free kick. No movement around him. Bentancur not moving. Danso's asking Bentancur to move for him. Actually, it's Danso who's asking Højlund to get away 10 yards from him. Danso finds Bentancur, takes it on the half turn. He finds Decky, who's under pressure from two players here. He gets in these positions so often, Kulusevski, on the touchline. This time he wins a throw-in. Porro with it. I have a real fear that United will be gifted a way back into this game, and that will give them a bit of motivation to up their levels. It's pretty poor from both sides at the moment, but Tell wins it there, off Dorgu. He runs down the line. He's got to hold it up here, Tell. Is he going to win a corner? No, he doesn't. He tries to, but it runs to Casemiro and now Maguire. And Spurs backing off a bit. Garnacho turns Porro, and that's actually a Spurs ball. Really good from Porro there. Put pressure on Garnacho and then managed to kick the ball off him, so it's a Spurs throw. Now go backwards here, Spurs, and just keep the ball for a bit. Bergvall's dropped off him. Decky is too near to him. And Porro does find Decky and then Bergvall, and Spurs are able to open it up to Ben Davis, who plays it to Maddison, who's touched back to Davis is wonderful, and that enables Maddison to get some space for the return. Goes out to Sonny, who plays it down the line. A good run from Spence. It's covered by Mazraoui, but Spence turns him. Keeps the ball and has turned Mazraoui again and gets to the byline. Beautiful from Spence. Beautiful from Spence. Chance for Spurs. Oh, and it came to Tell. It was a chance at the near post first for Kulusevski. Couldn't get anything on it. Then it came to Tell. Amazing from Spence. So Decky tries first. Doesn't get hold of it. It was just a bit behind Tell. Don't worry about it, kids. Just get yourself ready for the next chance. United with a long goal kick, and they won it now up in Tottenham's half. But Tottenham's press is making them go back, and it comes to De Ligt, who goes back towards Maguire. Tell putting some pressure on him, and he just goes over the top there, and it looked very much like Porro was keeping them on, and they're in. And the flag goes up. Dallo had a shot saved by Vicario, but the flag was up anyway. Oh, That wasn't offside at all. Porro was keeping him on. And I really don't know why the lino put his flag up then, because he certainly wasn't offside. Vicario made the save. Madders finds Son and goes for the return, and that's a good sliding tackle from De Ligt. And now United have a chance at a transition with Casemiro. And Fernandez finds... When they go for the ball over the top, they're just outside the box here, and then Porro just whacks it clear. Could have been a little bit more... Porro could have been a little bit more composed on the ball there. So United have it back now, just on the halfway line. Fernandez plays it out wide right. Maguire plays a good ball between the lines into Casemiro. Dinks it out wide. Spurs haven't won at home for 8 games. So Sky just starting their narrative there. And United starting to pop it about a bit. And Garnacho's in behind. Takes a heavy touch, but he gets there. And again, it's saved again. And then it came back to Garnacho. And he got the cross in, but Danso picks it up. Jed Spence has the ball now. Oh, terrible pass from Spence. And now Spurs have lost it again. United getting into this game now, big time. They're out on the right-hand side. Comes across now. Maguire coming forward. And a big diag. Oh, it goes off the pitch. Porro put him under a lot of pressure there, Garnacho. It's a good first save, and then Danso was in a good position. Oh, Tell has lost the ball in midfield. Spurs losing the ball in midfield far too easily in this little passage of a few minutes, in the last 5 minutes. Garnacho running at Porro, cuts inside him. Oh, big slip from Mazraoui, but somehow it eludes Tottenham, who had 3 players around him, and it's at Man United again. And that is a goal kick. Spence blocked the ball. And Dallo thinks it's a corner, but it ricocheted between them a few times. Anyway, Vicario now on the ball. Lays it out to Danso. His first touch is good. And he tries to play a difficult ball down the line. It's cut out, but goes off for a Spurs throw. He's better on the ball, or has been so far, than I was expecting, Kevin Danso, I have to say. He tries to play brave passes, and I like him for that. Porro's throw. Looking for options. Goes towards Bergvall. He lets it bounce, and as a result, United get the ball, but lose it to Porro. He plays it up to Tell, who cannot hold it, and now Porro's lying on the ground. United have the ball in central midfield, and Porro comes to try and work back. And Fernandez chips it over Son to Dallo, who's now fronting up Jed Spence again, shown outside. So he comes in narrow. First chance cross. Really good clearance from Danso from the cross, but chance here for Garnacho. Great save. Unbelievable save from Vicario. That's what he is brilliant at, and Danso clips it out. United doing so much better in this last few minutes, and Spurs' midfield is just not really there. And they come at us again now. Comes out to Dalot. Cuts back, and it's going to be another first-time cross from Finalist. No, he takes Son on. And then he gets the cross in. Bergvall wins the first one. And then a little bump. And this is going to come to Garnacho at the back, who tries to keep the ball on down the line and can't because Kulusevski was there. Just letting United get back into this. I said that was my fear, and that's what's happening. Huge save from Vicario. That is where he is much better than Kinski. His ability to pull off absolutely world-class saves. Garnacho was 17 yards out. Really brilliant effort into the bottom left-hand corner, and such a strong hand from Vic. Now Spurs again. Ben Davies this time going long. Tell not able to hold the ball up. And United, it's coming back at us a lot now. Last 5 minutes, been 59% of all the play in Spurs' half. Oh, Madders does brilliantly, though. Now a big chance for Spurs on the transition, but only Son and Tell this side. Oh, Son is playing so poorly. You have to get him off the pitch. I'm sorry, you have to get him off the pitch. He just put his foot on the ball. It was so bad. That was a real chance for Spurs. And now United are in down this side with Xerxes, and Højlund is free in the middle, and a great block from Porro. It was Dorgu, sorry. And he was offside anyway. Porro plays outside him to Decky, who's under pressure. He plays a lovely ball into Bentancur, touches it off first time to Porro, back to Bentancur, comes across to Spence. Good stuff from Spurs, and the crowd like it. And it comes out to Son. He's got to do better this time. He's got Jed Spence making a good run outside him. What is Son? Son lays it off to Madders, who chips it over the top to Tell. He's in a good position here, and he has a shot that's deflected for a corner. It wasn't a percentage good decision to have a shot there, I didn't think, but it was a great dinked pass from Madders into Tell. I'd be tempted if I was Spurs to try and play one of these corners a bit shorter now, because every single corner we've put in so far has been easily cleared by the likes of De Ligt, Xerxes, Harry Maguire, who are much bigger than Spurs. Hopefully I'll be proven wrong. Yes, Sonny does take it short to Madders. He's on the edge of the box, turns him, gets to the byline. Oh, really good cross. Sonny then puts his foot on it. He's going to have a chance here, Son. Deflected wide. That was a good position for Son, and he's just trying to... He didn't really get hold of it, actually. I thought he was going to be just trying to bend it into that far corner, as is his usual trademark, but it was deflected wide. Porro now, 61 minutes gone. Looks like he's going to go for the outswinger. I liked that short corner before, though, to be honest. Here comes the outswinger. Headed by Bentancur at the near post. The second one is cleared. Bentancur puts his foot on it well. Lovely play there. Outside the box. Comes to Porro. Can he put a good ball in? Comes to the back. Chance for Tell on his right foot. Didn't look that comfortable over it, and it was blocked by Dalot, I believe. Madders now. Goes backwards to Spence. And he might have to... No, he turns beautifully there, Spence. Everyone else would have gone back to the keeper, but Spence didn't, and he continues his run. Finds Tell out wide, who finds Madders, who gives it back to Tell. Lovely stuff. Tell might have been fouled there, but he comes into Sonny, who's in a good position. Lays it out wide to Porro. He's got Decky outside him. Decky tries to get narrow. Lovely from Decky, beats his man, but actually De Ligt did well. And Bruno's trying to win a foul here, I'm sure, but he doesn't. He clears it straight down the middle. Oh, I'll tell you what, comes straight to Højlund. Oh, what a tackle working back, though, from James Maddison. Beautiful from Maddison. And now Spurs have it again with Spence. Gives it to Son out. Well, he doesn't. He tried to give it to Son. Now Son makes his run, but Spurs have nothing in the box. Tries to find Tell. Takes it on the half turn, but so many United players because they've got that 3 centre half. And Tell fouls United there. Okay, so coming on, Pap Sarr and Brennan Johnson. Oh, it's Madders coming off. I guess he's been injured. He's had a good game here today, Madders. I'm pleased for him. God, but having Pap Sarr on instead of Madders is a bit of a downgrade in terms of technical ability, I'm afraid. Unless he brings Kulusevski in to Madders' position somehow. And Johnson on the right. Maybe that is happening, actually. Bergvall off. He was good in the first half, Lucas, but not quite as strong. So it'll be Bentancur, Sarr, and Kulusevski in the middle now, I would have thought. Johnson on the right. Let's hope we can get some space for Johnson to run into, but we're going to need... We need Decky to come and try and get the ball off the back four in the way that Madders has been doing, because that's what's been allowing us to control the game. So United play a ball down the channel to Højlund. Ben Davies is with him. Højlund gets there first. Lays it back. Casemiro. Oh, good tackle there. Working back. Sonny, I think it was. And now Decky Kulusevski has a lot of space in midfield. And Johnson ahead of him. Open your legs here, Brennan. Fronting up his man. He's going to get the early cross in, and that's a corner. Good stuff from Brennan. Good direct start from Brennan. And that's what he's best at, Brennan Johnson, is driving at his fullback and getting across in the pomo, in between the keeper and the back line, hopefully for the likes of Tell and Son to get in at the back post. Another corner for Spurs. 64 minutes gone now. Let's get this on big Kevin Danso's head. It's an in-swinger. Oh, and it's gone all the way to the back. And now Brennan Johnson's going to have to work to get there ahead of Dallow, which he does. And that's a foul on Brennan Johnson. Good work from Brennan. Gets unnecessary stick as far as I'm concerned, Brennan Johnson. I wonder if Wilson Odobert will get any minutes today. Sonny has not had the best game. Come on, Spurs. Let's get another goal. Come on. So many big United lumps in their 6-yard box here. I would be doing this short again. But obviously Madders isn't on the pitch now, so... Here it comes, the in-swinger from Son. Oh, it's a terrible free kick, but flick to cross. That's going to be another corner. Basically, Kulusevski just jumped over it at the near post, hoping that it might skew off a Spurs, off a United defender into the goal. Actually, no, to be fair, he tried the little kind of Cruyff flick. It just hits the defender behind him. Sonny has got an option on the edge of the box with Brennan Johnson here. United player just trying to block that pass. Terrible directing. Ball comes into the box. It's cleared, but comes to Decky. Tries a right-footed cross, and not surprisingly, it's pretty bad. So Jed Spence has to kind of lay it back out wide. And Kulusevski loses out there. United with Bruno Fernandes back in their right-back position now, and they have to clear it long. Ben Davies wins the first header. Great header to Sarr, who gets the ball down to Jed Spence. Look inside you, Jed. Doesn't. Plays a good ball actually out to Sonny. You could have given it straight back to Jed Spence and probably should have done, but instead he puts his foot on the ball. And it's Jed Spence doing brilliant things again. Sonny found him and then he beat a man. Sonny just not playing well today. Not making good decisions, which is usually what he's best at. Anyway, Spurs still have the ball with Bentancur. Finds Sarr outside him. Usually likes playing against Man United, Pap Sarr. Comes inside, then goes back outside to Jed Spence, surely. Yeah, he finds Jed Spence. He's fronting up his man, then has to turn away. And eventually gets it to Bentancur, who comes back to Ben Davies. 67th minute. Davies goes back to Bentancur, who's pressed by Xerxes, but turns Xerxes nicely, Rodrigo. And then plays it down the line to Son, whose touch was just about good enough. Now Jed Spence. Sarr made a little run for him. Now he's got a runner outside him, Jed Spence, but comes narrow, uses his strength well, and he's going to have a dig, Jed Spence. Straight down Onana's throat. He was too far out for that, really. Onana goes left. The lip finds Dorgu. Johnson working hard. Decky now working hard on Fernandes, who tries the big cross-field ball, and it's too easy, really. Dallow now is going to play it down the line to Højlund in the channel. Højlund turns. United have players forward here. Oh, but a bad decision allows Porro to get there first. And United, now it's 4-on-4. Spurs against United. Brennan Johnson has the first one. Kulusevski's outside him, but if he comes to the left, he doesn't. He goes Decky first. And Decky's going to shoot. You know he is. And Sarr now, and they've allowed United to get their bodies back, which is annoying, but it comes out to Son. Inside right position. Son double step over, and his shot is tipped over. Shane Johnson didn't come to the right there. Yeah, Gary Neville now just talking about how easy it has been for United to defend these corners so far because they're all so big. Here it comes from Son, right on the keeper's head, and it goes straight out. I think the short corner is the best option, boys. Spence. Yeah, great pressure from Spence leads to United having to kick it long there, and Spurs have won it back with Spence. Good header from Ben Davis. Needs an option, Spence. Goes long into the box to Johnson, who plays it back to Decky. It's a good touch from Brennan there. Oh, and then Porro unfortunately fouls Patrick Dorgu. Porro saying that he pulled the wool over the linesman's eyes, but United play it short with Fernandez. Oof, lovely from Fernandez, just playing Dorgu around Brennan Johnson. And they're in here down the middle. And Danso has to turn on the afterburners, and he does brilliantly to get in there ahead of Højlund. Brilliant from Danso. Jed Spence trying to take on United on his own at the moment. Wins a throw-in. Oh, he doesn't. It goes to United. United now on the ball. And Fernandez starting to pull the strings a bit. Dalot. Son goes out to him. Comes back. Sarr, to say the least, is not putting in a heavy press here. Comes to Dalot. Early cross. Porro in, but they were in at the back post there if they wanted to be. If it came to them. But it didn't. Fernandez comes out again to Dalot. Comes back. This is going to be a first-time cross. And Xerxes has missed an absolute sitter. And we do not fucking stop crosses. It's so easy against us. Well, Danto's put his foot in it in the wrong place there. Comes to Garnacho. Chance here on the edge of the box. Casemiro. Good defending. Oh, but then gives it away straight away. And United are in down the left. Højlund. Good save, Vicario. Spurs just making their own trouble here. Block crosses. We know that the opposition are trying every time to find a way, get out wide, lay it back for the first time cross. And if that cross is in any way good, they have a free header every time or a free chance at the back post. Just stop the fucking cross. Jesus Christ. I've been saying it for 18 months. They don't do it. Decky, not strong enough there. Lose the ball again in midfield, and it's a huge chasm of a midfield right now. Dorgu, good ball down the line to Xerxes, who finds a way to get it to Casemiro, who lays it out wide right. So this is what's going to happen. Dalot has the ball on the right. He's waiting for the man to come behind him. It's Bruno Fernandes. Oh, he doesn't. He puts his foot on it, and it's a good cross to the back post. Comes to Højlund, fronting up Porro and Son. And that's a corner. Sorry, it wasn't Son. It was Brennan Johnson who blocked that cross. Yeah, Gary Neville saying Spurs know what's coming. They're feeling it. United getting more and more into this game, and they are the better team now. Tottenham looking tired. Bring some more players on. Fernandez with the corner. Vicario clears it from under his bar. About 4 players went down then. Anyway, comes back to Fernandez. Plays it out wide again to Dorgu. Gets a good cross into the back post. They're free at the back post. He's able to take a touch, unbelievably. And then Jed Spence does brilliantly. Just stands up strong and then comes away with the ball. Sar's outside, or it might be Tell. Got to give it. He does. He gives it to Tell. But Spurs not busting a gut backwards or forwards at the moment. And Tell loses it so easily, so poor in midfield. And United can be in here. They're around Bentancur. It's coming. Danso does well. And then Vicario kicks it to Sar. Spurs so poor at the moment. Sar gives it to Kulusevski. Porro plays in Brennan Johnson down. Can he get across in Johnson? He comes to Son in the box. Got to find someone, Son. Tell. Poor shot. Ugh. So frustrating. Nah, Spence was great. United trying to get down the left wing there with Garnacho, but Bentancur kicks it out. Into the 75th minute. It's clear that, well, Archie Gray is coming on now. So it looks like maybe it's a bit too early for Odebear. Where's he going to play then, Archie Gray? As United try the big ball out wide left to Dorgu. Lays it into Casemiro, comes back to De Ligt. Fernandez now, out wide to Garnacho, who's fronting up Porro. Porro does well. Nicks it off his foot. Needs options now, Porro. Plays a beautiful pass inside to Son, who beats his man there first on. And the second one, can he keep the ball on? He can. Good stuff. This is the best thing Sonny's done all game so far. He's on his own, though. And Johnson finally getting towards the back post, but Son has to hold it up and give it to Sar. You would have thought Sar would have been busting a gut to get forward there, but he wasn't. Maybe he's thinking about the end-to-end nature of how this game is at the moment. Johnson lays it back to Danso, who goes all the way back to the keeper. And Vic plays a good first-time ball out to Jed Spence. It's been the best Tottenham player on this pitch today. Bentancur doesn't look very comfortable in midfield at the moment. Maybe that's where Archie Gray is coming on. Spurs need to find a way to make this substitution maybe because, like I said, Bentancur not looking comfortable. Vic finds Danso and goes straight back to Vicario now, who's under a bit of pressure. Gives it to fucking Bentancur, who takes it on the half turn. An unnecessary risk from Spurs there, but Bentancur has space through the midfield now and then loses it. Not a huge surprise considering we know he's injured. And then a strong tackle from Dan. Who was it? Sar. Well done. Kulusevski now in the right-hand side channel. He goes to the byline, Kulusevski. He puts Dorgu on the floor, and that's a corner to Spurs. Well, it's Danso coming off. I don't know why. He's been brilliant. Hopefully that's just cramp for Bissouma. Sorry, for Bentancur. Bit of an ask for Archie Gray to come on. We've got very, very lightweight 2 centre halves here now. Obviously, they're both good on the ball, so that's something. But I wonder if Danso's felt something. God, we'd be so unlucky to have yet another centre half injury here. I really hope not. Anyway, it's corner. Porro looking to take an outswinger. I again would suggest we do it short. Son comes in deep to Bissouma, who has a dig, and that's cleared from Casemiro. Oh, and a lovely touch from Johnson on the turn. And then he's not strong enough, and United are on the transition here. Oh, good block from Ben Davis. Brilliant from Davis. Stop. And Kulusevski, chance here for Johnson down. Son on the right, lay it back. Chance for Decky. Straight at Onana. And Decky wins the ball back, but then loses it. And now United have a chance. Oh, and a terrible foul from Ben Davis. And United have players running through now. Davis is out of position. Basuma's there. Gray's there. Spence is there. They're in. Big chance. Great block from Jed Spence. I think Ben Davis will get a booking there. Yeah, just Kulusevski was a little too careful. So this is going to be a corner from Fernandez. It's on top of Vicario, who does get a fist there, but he's pinned in, and the ref obviously doesn't give anything. It comes all the way to the back post, headed by Casemiro. Oh, terrible clearance from Son, but just evades Garnacho. Spurs hanging on here. Oh, it's a first-time cross from Fernandez. Really good idea. It goes all the way off for a goal kick. Davis takes the goal kick to Vicario. He's got an easy option with Gray. Yeah, comes to Gray, and he needs an option down the line now. So he goes down the line, but it's a poor ball. But Spurs were nearly in, but Kulusevski's arm gets in the way. Ten minutes left, and at the moment, I have to say it's looking more likely that United will equalise than it is that Spurs will get an will get the second goal, and that's frustrating considering United literally don't have any substitutions to make because they've just got kids on the bench. Bissouma clears the free kick. Fernandez tries an early block. Now comes to Tell, and Spurs have a 3-on-2 here. Sonny trying to make the run. Johnson trying to make the run. You can't lose it here, Tell. He finds Johnson, who slips on the floor, but Kulusevski picks it up and drives towards the box. Goes to the byline. Is anyone in there? No. Falls to Maguire, and Johnson is still on the floor. And has he done a muscle injury again? What was it? He's holding his head, I think. He slipped over. I think he might have banged his head on the turf. No, it's Dorgu who lands on his head. Spurs not looking fluid in the front three at all at the moment when we get breaks. Johnson's okay. Bentancur has put ice on his knee. He was hobbling. Spurs putting the press on United. And they go long over the top of Ben Davis, who heads it. Oh dear, and Bissouma not strong enough in a 50-50 after Sarr gave him a terrible ball. United are in down the left now. Dorgu's going to be in. Dorgu is in. It's a bit of a heavy one from Fernandez. He gets his cross in, Dorgu, and it goes off the pitch. Spurs very lucky there. That frustrates me, stuff like that from Bissouma so much. Just kind of plays into that narrative that he just doesn't quite care enough, you know. Vicario tries a straight ball down the middle to Tell, which is completely stupid. And now United are in just outside the box with Garnacho, who goes to the byline. And Porro does really well, but Garnacho gets it to the back post, and then Xerxes has an air shot. And Spence gets to the ball in front of him, and he can drive past him here, Spence. And Spurs still have the ball with Son now. He's got to hold it up somehow, and he doesn't again. Oh, God. 7 minutes left. Just put your foot on the fucking ball, Spurs. Just again played it into the hands of United by making this a basketball game in the last 7 minutes. They haven't even got any players on the bench, so they should be less. They should have less energy than you. Fernandez tries the big long one over the top. Again, Vicario stays at home. So it's in behind Spence with Dallo now. Tries the cross. That should be a goal kick. It's a corner. Naive from Spurs. So naive from Spurs. Here comes the corner. There's a lot of height on it. Delit up first. It's ping pong. Chance. Good block. Oh, and then for fuck's sake! Vicario was just going to pick it up. He cleared it so United have got the ball now and they do it quickly. Just stupid. Dorgu on the left. 3 Spurs players around him, but he manages to get his cross in, cleared by Basuma at the near post. Now, Porro, put your foot on it. Actually, he does well to find Son. He finds Tell ahead of him. Tell's kind of on his own up against Dallo. Son is trying to make a run. Can he find someone now to Tell? Oh, he tries to play the ball to Kulusevski, but Garnacho worked hard. And Ben Davis goes through the 50-50. Good lad. And to say that the stadium is biting its nail, I think would be an understatement. You know what? If United got 1, I would not be surprised if they got 2 here. Spurs could well easily find a way to lose this game from here. 85 minutes gone, and we're just not playing smart. In fact, it's United getting on the ball and just popping it about, and that should be what Tottenham are doing. It's the fans trying to get behind Tottenham now. I've seen this a million times, I'm afraid. I'm hoping by saying it out loud that it means it won't happen. But we're just giving them hope. Just with the way we're playing. Kulusevski puts good pressure on there in midfield and we win it back. And straight away, we're trying to run quickly forward. Just hold the ball up. Got a throw. Tell has worked hard all game, but he looks absolutely spent. And Odebear is coming on for Son. Good to see him back. Please don't do your hammy straight away. Or ideally at all. So Son gives the captain's armband to, I would have thought it would be Ben Davis, but it goes to Vic. What does Ben Davis have to do to be Spurs captain? Anyway, I think Vic has been added to the leadership group apparently. Son taking his time coming off. Tottenham, just play the ball around now. You know, just keep it. Son, I'm sorry, mate. He's getting a good round of applause, but he did not have a good game. Odebear gets a good cheer. Haven't seen enough of him, but I really loved his early games. He's direct, good acceleration. Just need him to stay fit. He goes into that left-sided forward position. Spence going to go with the throw down the line. Yeah, goes long with it. It's easily cleared by United. Don't foul him, Basuma. Well done, Pap Sarr there. Well done, Pap Sarr. Oh, just a heavy touch though, and United clear. Ben Davies going to have to win this header. He does, but it falls to Xerxes. But Basuma does well. Oof, and then a bit of a dangerous ball played in midfield. And Pap Sarr fouls in midfield. United keep the ball. Oh, and then the ref played advantage. But, oh, and Odebear did beautifully there. And Spence is in down the left. And Odebear's gone with him. Oh, and then he tries to play the ball too early, I think. And Odebear wasn't ready for it. Such a shame because that was good from Spurs. And actually, that probably gets the ref away with a bit of a problem because United were fouled and he gave an advantage and then he felt the advantage was too long. But actually, I think he should have called it back. So we've got a bit of pace in our front line now. Tell isn't naturally massively quick, but Odebear and Johnson, certainly Johnson when he opens his legs can be quick. And Odebear is a bit more quick from the outset. Oh, Spence with a bit of a dodgy clearance there. Finds Højlund, which is a shame. I think I would have left that to Ben Davis, but now they're in down the right. Højlund getting towards the byline. Good strength from Spence. And then Sarr probably unnecessarily kicks it out for a corner. Fuck. 88th minute. Big corner. You know they're going to try and put it on Vicario's head. Actually, it's going to be an outswinger. Here it comes. Casemiro's up. And Vicario saves it on his line. Now, I'm hoping that Spurs haven't lost the ball by the time they've shown this replay. It was just a bit behind Casemiro. Vicario claims it easily under his line. Sarr gets away from the left back there. The right back, sorry. And Sarri's coming narrow now. He tries to find Tell, who shoots poorly on his left side. United get it away. Davis does beautifully there in midfield to win it back. Odebear driving at players. What a player he is. And now a chance for Tell. Can he get it across? No, straight. Oh, and Porro's giving it away, and then he's fouled. And Spurs, just put your foot on the ball here, Spurs. Already seen how good Odebear can be if we can keep him fit. Just his ability to beat men, especially when they're tired. Dorgu booked for a bad foul on Porro there. And we're into the 90th minute. Only 3 minutes added. Come on, Spurs. Just put your foot on the ball. How rare is it that you're winning in a game against a team like Man United or a club like Man United, and there's only 3 minutes added time? So just play it around. Just play it around. Okay, Porro plays it short to Decky, who gives it back to Porro. He finds Kulusevski, and Porro's in here. Porro's in. He's in the box. Good cross. It's going to fall to Spurs. No, it doesn't. United clear it. And then Porro gets the rebound. And then what's he trying here, Porro? Ben Davis shoots on his right foot, and it goes out for a corner. Just keep it in the corner here. We're already at 91 minutes. Just play this. Keep this in the corner, boys. Come on. 2 minutes left. Oh, Decky's giving it away, and that's a throw to United. Coming towards Tell at the back post, tries to get in the way. And now United can bring it out. But Spurs win it up with Tell. It gives Dallo tries a crossfield ball, but Johnson gets in the way, but United keep it. Now they're in midfield, United. They try and play it over the top, but it comes all the way to Vic. And that's good news for Spurs. Vicario now just keeping hold of the ball. And 1 minute left to play. Come on, Spurs. Just stay strong here. Sarr in midfield. And he just plays it down the channel. And I don't mind that. Kulusevski putting pressure on De Ligt. De Ligt goes to Onana, who will surely kick this long. Spurs fans chanting. Good header from Porro. Oh, Tell's in. Oh, and then a terrible headed touch, second touch from Tell. Now Onana can play it long. And United ploughing forward. Good header from Archie Gray. And Porro wins a throw, and well done. And Jed Spence gets Gary Neville's player of the match. I'm telling you, Thomas Tuchel, he should have Jed Spence in his first England team. And we're at the 93rd minute. It looks like Spurs are going to win this game. Tell working hard on the right-hand side. He's worked hard all game, to be fair to him. Kulusevski also working hard. And that's the end, is it? Tottenham win it. Tottenham win it. 1-0. By no means, guys, by no means a like platinum performance, but a win. Hi guys, this is my instant match review of the Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 0 victory at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And as the players start to try and give each other hugs of congratulations, Matthias Tell on his haunches. He's worked hard all game. It was by no means a vintage Tottenham Hotspur performance. There was quite a lot wrong with it, but more importantly, 2 wins in a row now, a win against a team equally struggling with form and confidence, and some real signs from players who have come back from injury and from some of those players who played a lot of games that they wanted to start playing the Tottenham way a little bit more, the Ange Postecoglou way. I would still say, in terms of overalls, Tottenham looked very, very lacking in rhythm, especially in the front three. Really getting ourselves in some really good positions, especially on the transition, but making bad decisions. I'd have to start maybe by saying Sonny is still just not in great form. His confidence is definitely at its lowest ebb, I think, since he's been at Spurs. But a couple of wins in a row, like I said, and Gary Neville on Sky Sports gave his player of the match to exactly the same player that I would give mine to, Jed Spence. Literally, in my opinion, on course to potentially get Tottenham's player of the season. Kulusevski obviously had an unbelievable first half of the season, but his form has dropped off a fair amount. But now, Jed Spence, I have to say, playing unbelievably, and I was saying it during the watch-along, I'll say it now. Thomas Tuchel should be thinking about putting Jed Spence in his first England squad, because he's playing out of this world football, like the best player on the park for Spurs and, well, for either team by a country mile, dropping his shoulder, beating players, beating the press by getting around people, which is something that Tottenham have not had the pace to do in their team all season. Now we see in the last few minutes of this game, we bring Wilson Odobert on the pitch, and we've got Brennan Johnson on, he came on as a sub as well. And we've got a bit of pace about us with those two and Tell in the front line. So there are pacey options for Spurs going forward. But Jed Spence, over the last few months, the only player who has been willing to be brave enough to drop a shoulder and beat a pressing opponent. And he did that all game today, endlessly, getting the ball, going in narrow, going wide, giving and getting a 1-2 from some of his teammates. He really did put in an unbelievable performance. Also, I'm going to give props to Guillermo Vicario, his first game back for Spurs. And he really did show what an elite shot stopper he is, because even though it seemed to me like really the only chances that Manchester United had were because Tottenham were kind of giving them those chances, there were saves that Vicario had to make, especially one down to his bottom right from Garnacho. And overall, he did well. There's just a couple of occasions where I felt like his starting position on his line was a little too deep and he could have done some sweeper keeping a bit better. But he saved us, really. I think if we had Kinski in goal today rather than Vicario, we would have conceded one of those chances. Kinski's just not quite as elite a shot stopper as yet in his career as Vicario is. And Vicario is a bit bigger. And certainly the save from Garnacho down to his right involved him getting full stretch to his near post down to the right and a big, strong hand. They're just showing Ange Postecoglou going round the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium now. That is a huge performance for Ange Postecoglou and victory, of course. More of the victory than the performance. Like I said, 2 wins in a row, Brentford away, Manchester United at home. And before those games in the league, we really were all saying it's hard to see where Tottenham are going to get their next win in the league from. Well, we've got 2 in a row and we go to Ipswich away next weekend. Another break all week for the players who are injured to get some more training into their legs and maybe some more injured players to come back or get closer to coming back. I, for one, so excited to see, just in a little 5-minute cameo at the end of the game, Wilson Odobert. He beat more players for pace in 5 minutes. And, of course, it was a tiring Manchester United team. So, caveat there, as Spurs are actually up to 12th in the league. Oh, wow. The top of the mountain, guys. Nearly at the top of the mountain. 4 points behind Brentford in 11th. But to see Wilson Odobert use some acceleration and pace to get away from players just in that little 5-minute cameo, if we can get him properly fit, if we can get him and Van der Ven and Romero and Solanke properly fit for the beginning of March and whoever we have to play in that Europa League last 16 game, and it looks like it'll be either Real Sociedad or AZ Alkmaar, then I could really see us very much potentially taking a good deep run into that. We could, I think, beat those teams, either of those teams. We've played AZ Alkmaar once before already this season, and get through to the last 8. And we've only been in the last 8 of the Europa League once over the last 10, 15 years, and we went out meekly to Sevilla, as I remember it. So that was exciting to see, Oderbell. I'll go through the players. I think Pedro Porro did well. He snapped into challenges. Obviously, as always, there were occasions where he was caught ahead of the ball, and a lot of Manchester United's most dangerous work did come in our right back position and in behind him, but worked really hard. I think Porro looked like he had benefited from a break. If Udogie, interesting actually, I guess that Udogie didn't come off the bench today, so maybe he's a little further behind the likes of Johnson and Odegaard, who did come off the bench. But as and when Udogie is fit to play, I would really like to see Pedro Porro get a break and Jed Spence come across to right back, and of course Udogie go into that left back position. That's what I'd like to see happen. But I'd give Pedro Porro a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give Vicario an 8 out of 10. A clean sheet, obviously, on his first return back. Jed Spence, I'm giving a 9.5 out of 10. Like, fantastic performance. I've already waxed lyrical about him. Big game for Kevin Danso as well. He went off with about 5 or 10 minutes to go. I hope there was nothing, no kind of injury reason behind that. Obviously, he hasn't played a lot of games in the last few months for, I think it was Lens, who he was at in France. And he had to play all of the first 2 games for Spurs against Liverpool and Aston Villa. So hopefully that's just being a little bit careful with Danso. Archie Gray came in for him at the end. But I thought Danso was excellent. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Put his body on the line, showed some pace in the second half, didn't let Garnacho get away from him when it looked like Garnacho would be in one-on-one. Won a lot of balls in the air and is more comfortable with the ball at his feet than I was expecting Danso to be. So it looks very much, I have to say at the moment, I've seen enough from Kevin Danso to say that I think he is and should be our third choice centre-back ahead of Dragusin. Now, obviously, Dragusin's going to be out for a long, long time with an ACL. It won't just be the rest of this season. I'm sure it'll be halfway into next season as well. So we're going to need to see a lot of Kevin Danso. And also, let's be realistic. We don't know what's happening long-term with Christian Romero. So very good to see how well Danso has stepped into the breach, and I was very impressed with his performance today. Ben Davis gave us just what I would describe as a classic Ben Davis performance. A strong 7.5 out of 10. His passing is so underrated. He loves playing the ball in between the lines. He's brave on the ball. Gave a good balance on the left side with Danso on the right. They were both trying brave passes in between the lines into midfield. And Ben Davis, I think we have signed him up for his extra year, haven't we? If we haven't, I definitely would. Because with Dragusin out for so long, he makes an excellent 3rd/4th choice centre-back. And I think it was the right decision. I've been saying it on my videos in the week. I would start Davis ahead of Archie Gray, and I think that was the right decision. Really good in 50-50s, worked really, really hard. So that was the back line. Then in terms of midfield, Bentancur, I thought he did pretty well. Certainly in the first half, he was kind of sweeping up nicely, putting his foot in. I mentioned a little bit on the watch along how his instinct does seem to be to go a bit back and sideways, but also he has been getting a lot of stick recently, Rodrigo Bentancur, for not being that present in the midfield when teams are on the transition against us and opposition teams getting so much space to drive through the midfield. So I imagine a little bit of that instinct to be a little bit backwards probably comes from just how much stick he gets and how he wants to make sure he's always in the right position in case we lose the ball. So I don't mind it on that side. I'm going to give Bentancur maybe a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Bergvall, I thought played well in the first half, but fell away a little bit. Not a huge surprise as a youngster. I guess I'll give him a 6 out of 10. And I thought James Maddison was excellent, especially in the first half, coming to get the ball off his back 4, off Bentancur, something that we've really been missing when Maddison has been out. Kulusevski never likes to come when he plays in that 8-10 role. He never likes to come quite as deep as Maddison does to get into that quarterback role and start things for Spurs. But Maddison was really doing that. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought he did well. And obviously he got his goal, which is really good following up from the shot from Lucas Bergvall. Maybe I was being unfair giving Lucas Bergvall a 6 when he when he got that important left foot shot away for our goal. So let's say 6.5 for Bergvall. I'm going to go 7 or 7.5 for Maddison. And then I will say Sonny, I'm afraid, didn't have a great game in my eyes. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I'm going to have to say 5.5 for Sonny. Not a great game. Lost the ball on myriad occasions. Wasn't strong enough with his back to goal. And then when he did have chances going forward on the transition, where down the years for Spurs, he's been absolutely elite with his decision-making, not to mention his finishing. Just a few times where he seemed to be doing the wrong thing, showing a bit of a lack of rhythm, a lack of confidence. And he did come off in the last 10 minutes or so. But you never don't, with Sonny, he always tries his heart out. Of course he does. So it's not that he's not trying. It's just that he's really lacking rhythm and a bit of confidence there. Tell, I'll give a 7 on the basis that he worked his nuts off all game. Not a lot fell for him. He had a couple of shot opportunities, one saved by Anana at the near post, one towards the back end of the game, towards injury time. Didn't really get hold of it. And he looks like a player who hasn't started a lot of football matches. He's putting his all in, but he's not quite striking the ball cleanly at the moment. So these minutes will really help him. And again, another week of training this week will help Tell as well. And then Kulusevski, in terms of the starters, I'll give him probably a 6.5 out of 10 as well. Again, tried very, very hard. Not a lot coming off for him, but using his strength and his physicality a lot, which is not something Spurs are massively blessed with, and trying his hardest. Listen, the most important thing today, Tottenham got a win against Man United. We go above them. We're not the biggest laughing stock in the Premier League at the moment. That falls to the Old Trafford outfit, and I, for one, am pleased that it does. I have to say, Amorim looks like a broken man at the moment, and all of his comments coming out in press conferences about how United are a bigger club than Spurs, so the pressure's higher on him. He shouldn't be saying that stuff. I'm not a United fan, so I don't really care. It's not my place to say, but you got to stay being positive, and you got to give it to Ange Postecoglou. Yes, he's been talking about the injuries, and I have to say we did play some Ange ball today. We kept trying to play it his way. Frustratingly, at times, I felt we could have been maybe a little less naive in the second half and put our foot on the ball and let United try and come at us so that some spaces come up. But they're trying to play the right way. We saw more Ange ball today than we have in a good few months, I'd say, and a very positive result. And a positive 3 points, one that we needed, and good news for Ange. And now, as they show on Sky, some examples of the sit-in that has been called for. They've got the Time for Change banner out. And if you didn't know, they've asked the Change for Tottenham group, have asked for fans to sit in at the Tottenham Stadium after the game to show their support for Change for Tottenham. And they just showed a bit of it. It didn't look quite as big, the sit-in, in terms of numbers as the walk down Tottenham High Road did. It looked like there were 1,000 or 2,000 maybe numbers protesting on the walk down to Tottenham High Road before the game. But listen, I'm up for change for Tottenham. I don't know necessarily if it's as simple as I think we need a new owner. There is some talk of Qatar coming in, but you've got to be careful what you wish for. It's very difficult. The change for Tottenham I want is for us to be patient enough where it gets to the point where Tottenham can afford to pay the kind of wages that Man City and Chelsea are. And I just don't believe, I'm afraid to say, that at the moment, only 5 years since we moved into the new ground, I don't think it's quite as simple as that yet. It took Arsenal about 13 years to spend any money whatsoever and not be selling their players after they moved into the Emirates, and even longer than that until they spent real money. So listen, I'm up for change for Tottenham, of course I am. But I don't see that many owners around the Premier League and around world football where I look at and think, oh, I wish you were there, you were my owner, because you're either an oligarch or you're a state using it for sport washing, or you're a very, very dodgy dealer indeed. Anyway, that's just my little thought on the protest. Most importantly, Tottenham get their win 1-0. James Maddison with the goal. Let's roll on to Ipswich now and try and get them back next week for the defeat they gave us at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Go there fit and raring to go, and hopefully make it 3 wins on the bounce. Cheers. Make sure you give this video a like and press subscribe, by the way. Hi guys, welcome to the fan show for this Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 0 victory at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Like I've been saying on the watch-along, not a platinum performance, but certainly more Ange ball seen today than we have done for a fair while. And we are going to talk to Spurs fans from around the world to get their feelings on that victory. Yeah, very important that we got a victory today. And I, for one, am very pleased that we did. So let's go to Malta to start. And Melvin, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, lovely to speak to you after a victory, after 2 cup defeats in a row. Yeah, what did you see about that game from where you were? Obviously, the victory is the most important thing, but did you see some signs of positivity for the rest of the season as well?
Yeah, there was a lot of positive things. The first thing, the result, the clean sheet. 2 clean sheets in the league in a row, showing some resilience and game management. Obviously, United are struggling at the moment, and so are we. But the win showed signs of growth from the team. I liked a lot of things with I thought the lineup was good. The performances, I think the players showed energy, fight. It showed that they had a week's rest. I thought 5 substitutions especially helped to keep us in the lead and not concede. I thought United were a bit unlucky because they could have scored. They had some dangerous chances. I thought Vicario in the net. I mean, we've missed him. God, we've missed him, especially since we tend to lose games by 1 goal. Vicario tends to be the difference, and his presence, his size, his leadership. Son giving him the armband was a message or a sign for me as well. Yeah, a lot of positives. Jet Spence, staking a claim for Player of the Season. We for a long time we said Kulusevski was gonna win it, but for me, he's putting his name up there. Incredible. I have to say, club signing Jet Spence. I can't say his name without saying club signing Jet Spence. It's the only dig I have of Antonio Conte and his time here. But yeah, a lot of positives. Tell was good. I thought unlucky not to score. He was a bit rusty, but the team's still learning. And the substitutions, I was happy to see Odegaard looked brilliant. I know they were tired legs. United didn't bring any subs on or had barely any subs. Ange Ball kind of was there today, but I still see a bit of fatigue. But we played well. I thought we defended okay. Danzo was solid for the majority when he played. Ben Davies was a leader. Was solid again. Pape Sarr, when he came on, I liked him. Maddison, I've been critical of James Maddison for a long time. I thought when James Maddison plays well, we tend to win. It's just simple as that. When he's on it, and he's been criticized in the media, and obviously,
I think that's why he gave it that, didn't he, on his celebration?
Yeah. But with James, it's not just one game. Maddison, it needs to continue. It needs to be again and again and again. For me, he's too inconsistent. Same with Bentancur, good today. But let's see what he does next week. Bissouma came on a bit late, didn't really influence the game much, but he was there. He had energy, he had legs. Happy overall. We haven't sacked the manager. We're up to 12th place. We're looking
heady
up
heights, heady heights of 12th in the league, Melvin.
Yeah, but you have to take positives as they come. Unlucky we got knocked out of the cups, but now we have players coming back and we're easing them back in. I thought Johnson, I was happy to see him because I thought he was very effective early in the season. He was scoring goals. I know they're tap-ins, Barnaby, but he's putting numbers up, and we've certainly missed that. So I think Johnson, especially when we're going to have European football again, the bench looked good today because when I looked at every single player, I knew who they were for the first time in a while. There weren't any academy kids, and I didn't have to Google any of them, which is a good sign. I mean, it's good to speak to you after a victory, Barnaby, and us smiling. I know there's off the pitch. There's lots of things we can talk about, but I'll leave that for another day, another pod. All I have to say is the turnout was great. It was amazing. I like the energy and the enthusiasm and like to put pressure on the club, to push the club to be better and for us to take the football side more seriously. And that's all we can ask for. That's all I want from this ownership, and
Yeah,
I'm not going to say anything.
Just to reference that, you know, and you mentioned the bench earlier. You have to say when you see the, you know, when you take the squad as a whole today, and obviously some of those players not ready to come off the bench yet. Clearly, Doggy and maybe Odebear only for 5 minutes, but you can see that actually, you know, we have the makings of a really excellent squad. And I have to say, Danso as a signing looks good, and I think Tell will prove to be a good signing as well. I don't see that many signings of the last, you know, since maybe what I would call and what Poch called, you know, the painful rebuild started. I don't see many signings that you'd look at and say, they're not right. Maybe only, and he's still young, Dragushin, really, who's the only one who kind of doesn't really seem to fit the system. So it is, you know, it has been a terrible time, but when it's all together, you can see that we've got the makings of a good young squad who can grow together. It's just whether in the long term Ange will be given the chance to do that himself, or whether he will. I mean, I basically think at this point, I don't know if you agree, but I think Ange basically needs to get to the final probably of the Europa League to keep his job. What do you think?
Not just that. I just think we need to see growth. We need to see us not do the same mistakes, not concede the same silly goals. I think we need to win a few big games. We need to see this team evolve. And I feel we have evolved a little bit. I know it doesn't show results-wise, but I feel the team has grown. I mean, Archie Gray has now 20 appearances. Bergvall has, 15 appearances. These kids are getting game time. And it will do us a world of good. And even the players coming back. I thought Odebear, I really like Odebear, and I thought he was fantastic. I know Sonny was a bit quiet today, but Sonny is Sonny. Listen, his form will come back. He's tired. There's lots of pressure on him. Yeah. I also feel that sometimes he's burdened too much by the armband. It's like he feels he wears, like, he's too emotional at times, and he looks often gets stuck in his own head. He passes when he should shoot. He shoots when he should pass, but it will come to him. All he needs is one goal, and it will open up again. And like I said, the substitutions made a massive difference. They're going to be very important for us in the Europa League. It's a competition that, if we're careful and we manage, we protect our players, which Postecoglou did. He made 5 substitutions today. He was able to bring people off the bench, keep people fresh, take people off. I think Danso hasn't played much football lately, and I feel that's why he was brought off, because we're in a position now where we can protect players, and I don't think there was anything wrong with him. I thought maybe let's not give him the full 90 minutes and bring on Archie Gray, who's still equally is good at the back, and yeah, we have great. I think we have options now, and we can really. There'll be competition for places, which is something that we haven't had for a while. And especially even the players in the first 60 minutes, they gave everything. They were running because they felt, when I'm tired, I'm just gonna get subbed off now. There's another week until the next game, so they don't have to worry about a midweek fixture, which is something we haven't had really since November. So it's great. The problem is we don't need to have any fresh injuries. We have to, try to keep these players fit and keep up the momentum. And yeah, I'm happy with how we are in the moment, where we are as a football club. Off on the pitch stuff, off the pitch. Like I said, I don't want to. That's for another podcast.
Another time, yeah.
Yeah, but where we are in the moment, we got through January, then December, January, and February without sacking the manager, without arguing too much with each other. I know I was very cranky at times and was arguing with other fans, and I was defending my own manager at times, trying to think, listen, we have to stick with this guy. We can't sack him. People were saying, oh, give it to Mason. I thought, you have to be laughing if you think Mason's going to do better at the moment. Even set pieces, I thought we were good today. Something that even, I know Danzo is tall. The height makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy overall. Listen, we have to win the next game. We have to rise up the table. I'm finally looking up the table. I haven't looked at the table for a while. It's the first time I looked, and I thought, listen, we're 12th now, so we can look up, and we have to see what's a realistic target.
Listen, Mel, I've got to let you go because I've got about 9 other people to talk to. But thanks so much for being part of the show, and speak to you again after Ipswich, I hope.
No worries. See you, Barnaby.
Bye bye. Okay, next up, I think we're going to the Congo. And Hussein, how are you,
Hey.
Hussein?
Well, thanks. How are you?
Very well. How do you feel after that 1-0 victory, mate?
Well, happy about the result. I think we needed a win, so I'm glad we got it. Two in a row. So hopefully
What did you
we
think
can
of the
build from here.
performance?
I think we had, we had decent possession. We had some semblance of a press, but I didn't, a lot of half chances. I think we didn't really have many clear-cut chances.
Yeah,
but generally okay.
Why do you think that is? You think that's down to a lack of kind of rhythm, confidence, all of the above? What do you think?
I think I'm still not sure about our midfield three. I'm still not sure what it should look like. I'm not sure Ange knows either. But that's where I think off season we're going to have to try and figure out what that midfield is supposed to look like.
It's interesting you're saying, because last, obviously not to, it's a bit of a cliche now to hark back to the first 10 games of last season, but I was at the Lane for some of those games. And what was so brilliant about Spurs back then was the way that the midfield back then of Sarr, Maddison and Bentancur really dovetailed beautifully with Porro and Udogie, who were both coming in inverted. And it was like at times we had 5 players in that central midfield. And nowadays, it's very rare that I see us kind of outnumbering oppositions in midfield in the same way we were back then. And I don't know. I feel like that must have kind of come like changed from a lack of confidence from just difficult results.
I don't know. I just think the pace is a lot slower. I think we're not moving the ball fast enough. We did a little bit today in the first half, but not consistently. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is you would see that in the first 10 games of last year, what you're referring to, we were on the turning around and moving forward and passing forward. And I think we've gone back to this sideways passing and really slowing it down, trying to look at in front rather than just going forward and connecting and moving the ball quickly. I think that's the biggest difference I've noticed. And that's probably it, where the pace, it's a lot slower.
Yeah. I'm just seeing this from on Twitter from Nathan Clark, who's part of the Extra Inch podcast, which is a really great podcast. He said this: United are a mess, and that wasn't exactly a demolition, but there was still more than enough today to say, hey, look, some players back and midweek rest and Spurs look a lot better. He goes on to say, the question over Ange for me is not and never was, is the bad football because of the injuries? Because that's obvious. Instead, it's are the injuries because of the good football? Where do you feel on that? Because I have to say that's something I feel quite similar to, which is I've been saying for a number of months now. My big problem, firstly, my only problem with Ange is, can he get his players on the pitch?
Firstly, it was nice to be able to make 5 changes. You saw United only made 1 because they had all the kids on their bench, just like we've been having. So it was nice to be able to bring on 5 decent players. So that's good. In terms of the injuries, look, I don't know. Everyone's speculating. We're not doctors. I think if you're going to play high-intensity football, you just need to have a deep squad and be prepared. And I don't think we had a deep enough squad to be able to play the way we want to play.
Okay, and now that we've kind of made 2 signings down the middle of the pitch, do you feel like our squad is deep enough for the rest of the season?
Well, if we don't get any more injuries, if the teams are back, we should be fine. We only have 2 competitions left to worry about. Yeah. But I think in the off season, we need to make sure that, because it's 2 years in a row, our squad has been cut out. So this off season, we're going to have to improve further and make sure we're deep enough going into next season, whoever the coach is.
Yeah. Top man Hussein, listen, thanks so much for being a part of the show.
Right,
call in
cheers.
again after a future one. Hopefully you're our good luck charm, mate.
Cheers.
Top man. Bye-bye. Okay, next up, I'm going to South Africa and Linton. Linton, how are you doing, mate? How are you feeling after that win?
Much better after the win. Yeah, thanks, Barnaby. It's 3 points. Yeah, nothing better than that. So,
what did you make of the performance, Linton?
I thought it was a good performance, a good-ish performance, shall we say. I thought we were good. It was good to have obviously some players back and to be able to make some changes. That was a good positive for me. And yeah, I think we created enough chances, although they weren't clear-cut chances. We still created some nice chances, and yeah, there were some really good performances. Jed Spence was phenomenal today.
He's a monster,
Maddison
isn't he?
Sorry?
He's a monster, Jed Spence.
He is, absolutely. You wonder why he's, Ange has taken so long to introduce him. Perhaps a maturity issue on his side. But since he's been introduced, he's been an absolute star for us and almost a new signing, in many ways. I thought Madison looked lively in the beginning. I think he bit of match fitness. So I think he ran out of legs towards the end, and that's why he was subbed. I'm really impressed with Dancer. I think he's doing really well, and he seems quite solid at the back. And Ben Davies, good team man. So he always puts in he always gives his all for the side. So the real disappointment for me was Sonny. He just seems lacking in confidence. He really does. He's lost confidence completely.
It'll come back. I agree with what Melvin was saying, that Sonny's form will come back, and maybe he had some good points there about the captaincy weighing heavily on him, and especially when we're having such a bad season. Sonny's such a team man that you can really see him taking a lot of that on his shoulders. I'm glad you mentioned Kevin Danso, because I think honestly, without him today, it would have been, especially with the physicality and the height of the Man United team, it would have been a very difficult game indeed. And I thought both him and Davis showed a good balance together.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And I think, with, as you say, with the physicality, I think Archie Gray would have struggled. So I think, Kevin Dancer is a big man, 6'3", so he's a solid defender. So he's played really well and showed a good turn of pace there against Garnacho, which I was quite impressed with.
Yeah, I want to ask this question actually, mate, because it's something I've been talking about. Something I'm saying. Do you agree with me that I almost feel now like don't play Romero or Van der Ven or Solanke and almost Odeberg quite sparingly as well, except for the Europa League. Let's just go full beans in for the Europa League and wrap them in cotton wool. I mean, I'm exaggerating it. I just mean like get them some minutes, but then just make sure that they are absolutely perfect for those games.
Yeah, I think possibly use them as impact players, in the league, because the league, we're not going anywhere. We can try and improve our position. But, we've got to go all out for the Europa. That's really what we've got to do, is we've got to go 100% all in on the Europa. And we've got to spare those players. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. So that's really where we've got to go full.
Obviously, there's quite a lot of positivity today, and I'm pleased about that. Thomas in the comments has said this. Today's performance was at best mid-table, losing the ball to a dreadful United team. How do you feel about that? Like I said at the top, I don't think it was by any means a platinum performance, but correct. I did see positives. But again, I would also agree with Thomas in that United are poor.
Yeah. Look, we're not great at the moment either. So It was really two poor sides. And it was sort of a mid-table performance. However, there are positives to take out of the game today. And, certainly the 3 points was a big positive. Getting players back was another positive. Getting those players match fit. So there are. We've got to. We know that we're not playing great football at the moment, but we've got to take the positives. And certainly the performance today, not, as you say, not a platinum one, not a classic performance, but certainly good enough to get the 3 points. And hopefully we can just a little bit concerned if it's a negative that we saw ice on Bentancur's knee, so we hope that's just a precautionary rather than another injury. So but I just think once the players come back and get some match fitness and get some more minutes under the belt, hopefully the performances will improve.
Yeah, completely agree. Listen, thanks so much for being a part of the show today, mate, and speak to you after hopefully another win next week.
Thank you, Barnaby. All
Cheers,
the best.
Bye-bye.
Sure, cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay, next up, I'm going over to Paul. How are you, Paul, mate?
Fantastic. Quite happy with that. Not a vintage performance, but let's be honest, I don't think you need to be absolutely vintage to beat United at the moment, and that goes for most teams.
I mean, I actually, do you know what? I agree, but I also think it's probably important to remember as the caveat, they did beat Man City and they beat Arsenal in the Cup, so they have found ways to get results in games. I've always said I've got a lot of family and friends who are Man United, and the big problem for Man United is actually less games like today, even though we did win against them, and more about those games at home where teams come and set up in a deep block and they really struggle with them. But listen, I think we were kind of fortunate that they didn't score. Garnacho very guilty of missing some chances, but I also thought Tottenham got themselves in really good positions many times, and I think over the course of the whole game we deserved to win it.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so. We had some very good performances. Jed Spence again, probably the best fullback in the country at the moment. I just think he's absolutely fantastic. I think he gets into any team. He has been that good. Maddison, first 45 minutes, fantastic, straight back from injury. I thought he put his foot on the ball, he sprayed it about. There was a calmness about him. He, no kind of giving the ball away. It was just, nice and easy.
It's interesting with that, isn't it? Because it shows how within the, despite you have, as a team, you have like the confines of a team formation and a structure. When Maddison plays in that 8-10 role, and then when Kulusevski plays there, it shows just how different it is based on player decisions, because Maddison always desperate to go and get the ball off his keeper or the back four, and Kulusevski kind of has no interest in that whatsoever. And that's kind of a difference of about 30 yards at times.
Oh, absolutely. And a difference of us, getting the ball and getting into positions to attack. When Maddison goes and gets the ball, whether it's from the goalkeeper or whether it's from the centre half, he's looking to spray it about. He's looking to make something happen. Whereas you said, Kulusevski will probably stay in that position, hoping the ball is going to come to him from deep or in a more advanced position.
Yeah.
So yeah, they play completely different. I think Maddison just makes things happen more than Kulusevski. But look, good performance overall. I think. I think quite happy.
And
plus two league clean sheets as well on the trot, which is
that's
good.
right. And worth a mention for Vicario. Obviously made some big saves.
Yeah, he made some very good saves today. Very good saves.
And where do you think this puts us then in terms of going forward? Ipswich away at the weekend. That'll be a huge game for Ipswich. They love having the big teams down there. But I'm kind of maybe naively feeling quite hopeful that with the amount of rest that they've had in between these last two games, that they'll be able to kind of definitely get control of that game and make enough chances to win it.
Yeah, I think so. I think the rest absolutely is going to help and is going to get the players that are just coming back that little bit fitter again, like Odegaard when he came on only for 5 minutes, looked electric once he got the ball. So, another week's training under his belt. Same with Maddison, another week's training before they play again, rather than them back out on Wednesday or Thursday night in a cup game. I think is going to be a massive difference. So, yeah, unfortunately, as you touched on with your previous caller, when it comes to the Europa League, we're not going anywhere. So we're not going to do anything special in the league, unfortunately. I think that's a done deal. But yeah, wrapping players in cotton wool, maybe giving them 20, 25 minutes in certain league games, coming up to and around the Europa League games, and go hell for leather. I think I said to you back in November, I think this two-legged rounds from the last 16 onwards will suit us down to the ground once we get our players fit.
Yeah, so they're just doing a graphic on the current injury list. So possible return: Werner next week, Romero early March, Solanke early March, Van de Ven early March, Richarlison mid-March, and then Dragusin obviously all season. For me, that strikes me that they've already made that decision. I think they're just like, we're not going to play you. We're going to rest you, and then like you said, we'll play you for a few minutes. In the few games running up to it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any fear of us being dragged into any sort of relegation battle. I think that's ridiculous. Yes, of course we want. Look, the league is our bread and butter, but we're not going to make any massive inroads into the top 8 or anything like that. We're basically looking at win the Europa League. You're playing Champions League football, regardless of where you finish next year. So, like, if that's not a carrot to go after, I don't know what is. Romero, you mentioned Van de Ven, Solanke, start of March, which is when we'll be playing Europa League. So,
and also, I'm also hoping that the fact that I think now, in a weird way, if we can get keep our squad and team fit for those games, then in a weird way, the fact that the league, we've got no chance of making Europe in the league, means that they could actually spend more time in the weeks kind of running up to those games, really analyzing the opposition and spending more time on things like team shape and properly trying to make the tactics right for those individual games. Whereas in previous seasons, obviously where we've always been looking to try and get in the top 4 in the league and what have you, then presumably they're only able to spend like 2 or 3 days maximum on stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think getting, especially, I think the next 2 weeks are absolutely massive, not just league-wise, but on the training pitch. They're absolutely huge. Getting the players match fit that have just come back and played a bit today, and getting the lads that are still out back to at least being on the bench and available.
Yeah. I'd love Ange to spend some time teaching them how to block a cross.
Yes, that would come in quite handy at times. Yeah.
Okay, Paul, thanks so much for being a part of the show again, mate, and hopefully speak to you after a win next week.
Absolutely. Come on, the Spurs. Thanks, Barnaby.
Bye-bye. Next up, the UK and Tim. How are you, Tim? Thanks for being patient, mate.
That's all right. I'm better after a result. It's nice to just grind a result out, but they can never do it easily, can they? Ever.
They can't, and it's always nice to have a microphone twin, Tim. That's what I love about talking to you.
Oh, it just looks like we're on the opposite side of things, doesn't it?
It's almost perfect. So, who really impressed you today? Jed Spence, I would have thought.
Jed was great. He should be down for Player of the Year already, I think. Very impressed by Danso. Vicario was great. Mm-hmm. I think Bentancur was better, but you're still getting back to fitness, I think. Madders for the first at least half an hour, maybe 45 minutes was pretty good. But I think we're stuck in this bit between either having players who are completely knackered or just coming back from injury. We haven't got the sweet spot yet, and hopefully that will come in the Europa League. So we've got Kulu, who's not really particularly on his game. Sonny, not particularly on his game. Tell looked lively, but you could tell he wasn't match fit, and his touch wasn't there. Like at the end of the game, I'm sure at full match fitness, he's tapping that and taking it around the goalkeeper rather than fluffing it.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
although it's a win, I think against a better side that weren't just worse than us, we could have been in trouble. It could finish the ball. We were still letting people through too easily through the middle. Our front three was still a little bit too ineffective, but I'm not going to complain at this point. I'm just saying, thank God the luck's come our way a little bit, and we've come across a side who were just pretty awful, to be honest with you.
Yeah, listen, really good point, because I feel like there'll be a lot of Manchester United content creators probably having discussions right now in the similar way to the discussions we've had to have over the last 2-3 months, where you've got no bench to bring on, you've got no way of changing the game, and exactly what you said about not being in the sweet spot, just having players on the pitch who are getting more and more tired and can't do anything about it.
I think it's interesting to note, like, we still haven't got the squad back. And if we want to close out a game and we've got centre-backs, Gray's perfect to put just sitting in front of them. And obviously we never had the chance to do that. He's great at stopping, he's great holding on the ball and going past people. So once we've got those options, with someone like Gray coming on and just sitting there and passing out to Bergvall and whoever, I think we'll look a lot more solid, because, Basuma, Sarr still, I don't think is fit particularly. No. His touch is not there, so I think the future looks bright, as it were.
My only thing with Archie Gray, and I've mentioned this on some of my videos, there's no evidence so far, and I'm only saying yet, he's obviously very young, but of his ability to take the ball on the half turn. And I think it really suits him, from everything I've seen of him, when he has the game all in front of him and he's able to play those passes in between the lines. He's very good on the ball and very brave in the air and a good tackler, etc. His body position when defending is excellent. But so far, I don't think we've seen enough. And obviously, it's not his fault because he just hasn't played there. But that ability in the number 6 role to take the ball on the half turn when you're being pressed incredibly hard, or to flick it round the corner or back to the fullback, that's something where Bentancur and Basuma, I think, are more comfortable. But in terms of, do I think Archie Gray could be good, like you said, sitting in front of them for when the opposition are on the attack? Yes, I would agree.
And as you say, he's young, and he's really just played the central defence and right back. So I'm sure come a good off season, and he will be one where that's the sort of thing they'll work on. I'm going to say a quick thing about all the protests, as it were.
Sure.
Guys, be careful what you wish for. Really, be careful. Do we want dirty Qatari money? And I know people have got issues, and I've got issues, but really, have you looked at other clubs and what's happened to them? Just be careful what you wish for. I think I'm no great, genuinely is the best thing in the world, but I think there are a lot worse things out there. Worse things out there.
Listen, mate, I appreciate you saying that, and I think we probably feel quite similarly. But I was watching some of those social media clips of the walk down Tottenham High Road earlier, and I have to say, not all of them, but it was a majority from where I was watching of pretty young fans.
Yeah,
and that's fine. Everyone is absolutely allowed to feel how they feel, but and I'm sure maybe we've discussed this before, but the reality is, I think those of us who are a bit older, a lot of us are able to kind of remember some of the stuff before and how close we were to going out of business.
Yeah.
And I would say, listen, if Qatar buy Tottenham Hotspur and plow £500 million into the team in one transfer window, am I going to say no? I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to stop supporting the club, but that it's like you're just joining them rather than doing it in a way that the rules were designed for. However, equally, I can't wave a banner around saying we are the PSR champions. That means nothing either. So it's difficult, but you've got to say there were many more people at those protests today than there have at previously.
Definitely, yeah. When I was, I been able to season ticket up to last year, and they were fairly small, but obviously they're getting more. But look, today was a good start, but how many times have we said that? What it means is going to Ipswich next week and actually putting in a good performance. Odegaard looked great coming on, but that's 10 minutes. So it kind of, I'm a Spurs fan, I'm like, I've always got my eye on the door, as it were, going, what the hell's going to happen next? Who's going to come in next? But, I'm forever hopeful. Otherwise, why would we be Spurs fans, eh?
That's it, exactly. Listen, thanks for being a part of the show, Tim, and hopefully speak to you after another win next week.
Yes, my microphone twin. Have a good time.
Bye-bye. Okay, next up over to New York, and Lee. How are you doing, Lee?
Well, this is a first. I don't know how many times I've been on, but we've lost every single time. So you said about the guy from Congo being a lucky charm. I'm the other guy.
Well, I think I'm the other guy. I've been doing these for 4 months now, and that's probably that might even be the first home win we've had in the league since I started doing it. No, there must have been a couple, but yeah. Anyway, good result. What were you impressed with today?
I think it was just the effort. No rocket science here, just having that week off. But you just saw people. The commentary that was here in the US, I don't know who it was, but someone was saying that we seemed like we had more energy than them, and we've definitely not heard that in the last, couple of months. And I think that was it. And you saw people putting tackles in, and that there was a lot of decent play. And I think everyone who's been on has called out all the right players, but it was just seeing that effort. And we wouldn't be Spurs fans if I didn't remind myself that Aston Villa was this time last week, and that was shocking. Liverpool was 10 days ago. That was probably worse. So, this we need to string a couple of these together. But I just think we only had a couple of players back, but it seemed to make a big difference, and we just seem to have a bit of oomph about us. And long may it continue.
Yeah, completely agree. And just nice to be able to enjoy a week where I can listen to all the podcasts I love and not feel like when I'm going on a run listening to the podcast that it's making my run even worse than it already is. I'm so terrible at running and hate running anyway. So that's really good. And I think, like I said earlier, I don't know if you agree, but an opportunity to go to Ipswich and really try and play our brand of football next week.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want to see
it won't be easy. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but
yeah, I don't think it would be easy at all. I mean, they drew at Villa, I think, didn't they, yesterday?
Yeah, with 10 men as well, actually. Good result.
So, yeah, it's not going to be easy. I'm excited about Tell. It's always tricky when you judge a player when you're only watching on TV versus those players those fans in the stadium. But it struck me that he was making an awful lot of runs that we weren't seeing. And I think that's an encouraging sign, because once people like Maddison, I think, start to see and get a sort of rhythm with him, like, we're old enough to remember Gary Lineker, but he used to make those like darting little runs. He wasn't always just coming short. And I just hope Tell keeps making them, because if we start finding him and he's got that turn of pace that I think he's exciting. And then I think all you want to see from the rest of them is just that passion and the commitment that we saw today, because Ipswich is going to be much more of a battle, I think, next week.
Yeah, I imagine they'll play it. They'll sit a bit deeper. One thing I'd say about Tell, yes, I agree, he made a lot of runs, but also he's playing against a pretty experienced back three. I mean, DeLitt and Maguire. So he was up against it today, and he kept showing for it. And I like, in the most part, his kind of touch with his back to goal. He's obviously not going to win many in the air, but he keeps showing for it and giving it back and then spinning in behind. So, yeah, I like the look of him. I think it'll be interesting the rest of this season, because obviously players who come from foreign leagues, they very often take a lot of time to adapt. And, I actually think even though during that kind of period just before deadline day, I was pretty desperate for us to sign him permanently, I actually think it benefits both parties to see how he does over this few months.
Well, yeah, the try before you buy, and also for him to, you've kind of got to want him to want to be here. And, you forget he's 19. He's probably moved with his whole family. They're still probably looking after him. So, yeah, I mean, it's in his interest, but yeah, I think he's encouraging, and you forget, you go, well, I think you were just reading off the dates. Solanke maybe not that far away, so all of a sudden the future. I would have liked to have seen maybe Son come off a bit sooner today. He just seems to be so running on empty. We probably say it every week, and same for Kulu. But they'd be the only complaints. But maybe they can be rotated sooner rather than later, because everybody else seemed quite. I mean, Maddison wasn't great. It was just. He was just fresh in the way that he came on and got around the pitch. He didn't do anything. I can't remember an amazing defense-splitting pass, but he was just busy,
There was one great pass he played inside the fullback to Son, But yeah, I just, like I said with the previous call, I just love how Madders is just desperate when he's like this and he's desperate to get on the ball. Yeah, and we need more players like that. Anyway, listen, mate, thank you so much for being patient and calling in, Lee. Let's talk again after another win.
You got it. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Okay, and next I'm going to Ireland and Noel. Noel, thanks for being patient, mate. Couple of fist pumps there. How are you feeling?
Fantastic. Any season that you beat Man United 3 times is a great feeling, because lots of my mates are Spurs fans, and they always talk the Ferguson line. It's only Tottenham we're playing today.
Yeah, it's Tottenham. Yeah,
but for that alone, I think it was fantastic. Not a fantastic performance, but some very good individual performances. All the guys have touched on. But I thought Vicario was amazing. Showed why he is the number one. A couple of good saves. Very, very composed, and I think he spread a lot of confidence to the back four. And we talked about Kinski last week. And it was just they look very inept in that position. I spoke to my son Gary immediately after the game. And he was impressed all around. Thought that Tell was actually showing very well, and was probably a wee bit too anxious.
Yeah,
I think actually you touched on it with the last caller there. His touch was good. I think he wanted that goal in front of the home supporters. He's very young. He's only 19, so I think he will come good. Midfield, I didn't think Bergvall really was great. I thought he might be subbed earlier, but all in all, a lot of commitment, and I was as nervous as a cat through the whole experience. I mean, being a Spurs fan is never over to the fact that he sings. So when I saw 3 minutes coming on, I was very much relieved. So all in all, a good day, much better. Better.
Completely agree. And do you think this is hopefully, I guess, along with the Brentford game, the start of a good run? Because I will say this, under Ange, it tends to be quite streaky in the Premier League. We tend to kind of go on some runs of defeats, but then also some runs. I remember at the beginning of the season, after we had that Leicester result and the Newcastle result, we did, after maybe the first 4 games, go on a bit of a run where I think we maybe won kind of 6 out of 8 or something like that. So hopefully we can do something similar.
Yeah, I think it's all the guys said it. The squad looks much more balanced now. We're able to make changes. I looked at the Man United team before. They had nobody. They were in our position a couple of weeks ago with 12 injuries or something like that, and their bench was, I don't know if they made a sub at all. I'm not really sure. I think you're right, actually. I think that we can push on from here. It's a terrible thing, being a Spurs supporter when you're hoping that Wolves and Leicester lose. That you're looking down the table. I mean, and that's what I was actually doing yesterday. I was looking actually for Arsenal to beat to beat Leicester
Oh
and
dear.
to beat Wolves. We shouldn't be doing that. We're too big a club for that. And as somebody touched on it earlier on, we're now looking up the table, and I think we can go on a bit of a run. Pointed if we don't go to Ipswich next week and build on it. But were you telling me that Brentford was the last league game? Is that?
Yeah.
It seems so long ago. So we've actually won 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
It just seems so long ago. But life as a Spurs fan, as you know, Barnaby, is not easy. But there's a lot more positives there. And I agree with all the other guys. I mean, the players that are coming back, Van der Ven was rushed back a couple of weeks ago against Elfsborg, but thankfully that he wasn't played since. And obviously when he does come back, that he would be fully fit, and the same with Romero. I think that gives us a bit of breathing space and a lot more hope for the end of the season. And I think the spine of the team was better today. We talked many a time about the spine, but Cardio definitely was brilliant. Danso, I thought was good. I thought it was strange. So taking off a centre half, I'd always be nervous about taking off a centre half with 10, 15 minutes to go.
Hopefully that was just precautionary.
Well, yeah, but I see, Bentancur with an ice pack on his knee, which is not a very good sign. Hopefully that's not too serious. But all in all, much better. Obviously we can improve on that. And always felt that we needed that second goal.
Yeah, me too.
And it was never coming. And I was always afraid of United at some stage. I think Garnacho wasted their best opportunity. But I thought the defence very, very well. I thought Danso and Davis did well. Jed Spence, again, class. He's a guy, if you look at him, actually, he doesn't even seem to break sweat.
No, he doesn't. And one of the great decisions of all time to give him a new contract just before he started playing the best football of his career, which is what we did earlier this season.
We talked about this so many times. He's been shabbily treated, for the last, since he came there. I mean, Conte wouldn't even play him, called him a club signing. And then he was shipped out a couple of times, and there was question marks about his attitude. And, would he be sold? Would he not be sold? But by God, I tell you what, I don't know where we'd be without him. He's just a phenomenal talent. I think he's a real athlete. And I think, we have more decisions to make. Somebody touched on it again earlier, that the midfield doesn't look to have the perfect balance. I thought Madison did well today as well. Obviously, he got his goal and, showed some nice touches. Great for his confidence to come back, and actually win the game. So all in all, positive.
All in all good. Thank you so much, Noel, and hopefully speak to you after another win next week. Cheers, mate.
Come on, you Spurs. Thanks, Barnaby. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, and finally, thank you for being so patient, John in Essex. John, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. You?
Yes, very good. What impressed you in that 1-0 victory today, mate?
Not a great deal, to be honest. I'm really happy with the 3 points. It was a must-win game for me. But I was very confident for the first time this season before a game. I expected us to win, and that's before I knew that they didn't have anyone on the bench. And going 1-0 up, we got off to the perfect start. And when I say I was a bit disappointed, I was disappointed we didn't kick on and put them away. I had a very nervous 15 last minutes, expecting them to get an equaliser and we'd come away with a point. So happy that we held out. But yeah, I mean, when I say I'm disappointed, like I say, just the fact that it could have been that little bit easier, I think, if we'd have just pushed on and got another goal. I thought they were there for the taking.
Yeah. And how do you think this kind of result sets us up confidence-wise, and also, hopefully with a bit more, well, obviously with more minutes in the legs of the injured players for the rest of the next season, or maybe we should just look short-term over the next couple of games?
Yeah, it sets us up brilliantly. It's great to, have a couple of them come off the bench that we haven't been able to have. Archie Gray not starting, that'd have done him good, having a rest. He's done a lot lately. And yeah, it's good to be able to do that. We haven't been able to do that for most of the season. And like I say, I think we've got, when everyone's fit, I think we've got a very good squad. I think we're one world-class midfielder away from being very good. We've got 2 players for most positions. And I said a month ago, I can't wait for next season. I really can't. I've wrote this season off. I can't see us doing the Europa League unless we get Solanke and Van der Ven back as a minimum out of what is still out injured. With them 2 back, with what we had today, I'll give us a chance. But I can't see it without them, to be honest. But yeah, overall happy, but I did expect to win. Yeah, we did. Clean sheet again. Although the Garnacho miss was massive. Garnacho, that was terrible. But it's about time we had that little bit of luck. We haven't had none for a long, long time. So we deserved the win. And I see a lot of people sort of knocking Son, saying he's not the player of old. He don't need to be with all what he's done for Tottenham over the years. He had the chance to go to Real Madrid, Liverpool, Barcelona, knocked them all back for Tottenham. And I think he'd make a great impact sub when everyone's fit. When he's got a full squad fit, I would have him on the bench. And I think with 20 minutes to go, he'd be brilliant for us.
Yeah, I actually agree, and I think Brennan Johnson is a really perfect kind of impact sub for us as well, because when there are wide open spaces ahead of him, that's where his ability to use his legs to get separation and then get crosses across the front of the box, and that's what he's best at, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Spence doing so well. I did say after his second game for Tottenham, I would have him at right back in front of Porro, and a lot of people laughed, but he's becoming a very, very strong player for Tottenham, like where Ange ain't going to be able to leave him out.
I'm hoping that because Udogie was on the bench, I'm hoping that maybe Porro can get a rest next week and Udogie can come in on the left.
Definitely. A few of them need to be rested if they can. And Udogie, if he comes back to the form he had in his first season, then brilliant. But not so much how he was at the start of this season.
Agreed. Well, listen, thanks, John, for being a part of the show. Really appreciate it. And hopefully let's speak again after a good win against Ipswich next week. That would be ideal.
Yeah, nice one. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Okay, guys. It's been a really good post-game fan show chat. I'm just going to get into the comments a little bit. Gary Maloney, 3 points. Happy days. Yeah, loving it. And then Surf South, thanks for your comment, says we need an elite 6'10" right wing and a better backup striker. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think 4 elite players would be brilliant for Spurs. I do think, I said it earlier, I do think that in general, the recruitment over the last few transfer windows has been pretty good. I'm happy with Danso. I'm happy with Tell for now. I think he's going to get better. He's going to get more rhythm into his legs. I agree with what you say about an elite 6. I don't know how viable elite 6s are. Obviously, Man City have really struggled to replace Rodri since he got injured. So that kind of shows how difficult that can be. But yeah, who knows? Cantab, good comment, says now Ange needs to rotate properly. Yeah, completely agree with that. We need to make sure that none of these players who've suffered with injuries this season, that none of them really get re-injured just in the way that Richarlison has. And yeah, I did see a comment saying how Ange said that Sonny and Bentancur got kind of non-serious knocks, I think is what they said. Oh yeah, and Danso, here it is, from Reed Right Own says, apparently Ange said Danso, Bentancur and Sonny picked up non-serious knocks. Okay, so hopefully they can just maybe impact injuries and they'll be fit for next week. All right, guys. Now, as I said at the beginning of the show, Chris will be back with the Spurs Chat podcast in about 6 minutes' time. Not on this stream, but on the same channel. So on his channel. So go and check that out. He'll be joined by Craig Dearman, Liam Fairhead, and Orkan Bassar. So make sure you go and watch that. Also, if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to his channel at Chris Cowan on YouTube. Also, you can subscribe to my channel for daily Tottenham content. I'm at Barnaby Slater _ at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube. I'm nearly at 15,000 subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber and you like the spiel I'm talking when watching a Spurs victory today against Manchester United, then come and give me a subscribe. But the most important thing is we did indeed get that 1-0 victory. It wasn't by any means vintage Tottenham Hotspur, but it doesn't really matter. A win is a win is a win, and I'll take it all day, every day, and we can enjoy our week before Ipswich next weekend. Have a great one, guys. Come on, you Spurs.